Sandals and shorts, and surf, and scuba, and sand, and sailing, and soccer. San Diego, California.
Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 320, back here on a Monday after a weekend packed with SanDiego.Futbol action locally and away. Season's greetings to everybody who's joining us here. We're going to go ahead and be joined very quickly in a bit by the Chromaniac friends, Alex Pena and Craig Elston. And want to give everybody a warm welcome as San Diego FC and San Diego Wave play against Texas teams. One of them here at home is the NWSL opener for San Diego Wave, going down 0-1 against Houston Dash. And then San Diego FC travels all the way over to Dallas, which is where they'll take off from there over to Toluca and their CONCACAF champions as they tie FC Dallas 3-3 in MLS, still undefeated in MLS, but no longer in first place of the Western Conference as of now. Greetings to everybody who's coming in on the chat. We're going to go ahead and get this started, as well as we have a really, really cool interview to close out the program. It's going to be with Luke Jenkinson. Luke Jenkinson, who is the head of human
performance.
Human performance. Thank you. The head of human performance at San Diego FC. Exactly what it takes to get these players, get players ready. A shortened off season, going into altitude. He has different metrics. He is the metrics guy. He's the guy that sees and analyzes all the data and data, which is the same thing, just pronounced differently. Potato, that San Diego FC outputs along with his team, a one-of-a-kind team here in San Diego FC. So we'll maybe at the end have goals, gas, and grades. Some stuff did happen that qualifies as such. Again, thank you for everybody who's coming in. From YouTube, from elsewhere, from Instagram. Saludos. Instagram still hasn't been figured out in terms of how to import comments. They all just kind of live there. It's very interesting to see our Instagram.
Who tunes in?
Who tunes in?
Yeah.
Let's see. I do not.
What happened? Everything good?
We're good. Just trying to get Craig back on here.
Perfect. I'm hyped today, man. There's a lot of San Diego FC to talk about. And yes, a lot of San Diego Wave to talk about as well, because their season. Tony.
And rumors.
Soccer finally started for San Diego Wave, and the big rumor, go ahead.
Macario, $8 million guaranteed.
I mean, it's not a rumor. It's technically
a rumor until the club says it so.
To me, once the good old Jeff Kassouf and ESPN kind of like put it out there, I think it's a done deal, which is insane. It is actually absolutely insane, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about it when we start talking about San Diego Wave. Abe will also join us for that as well to talk about it, because I know he is excited to talk some San Diego Wave. But yeah, we're gonna get started with San Diego FC and Craig. Oh yeah,
let me. He's on his way. Let me put my stupid little video that I always make every week to preview, because it does contain some cool little comments coming from Mexico in terms of San Diego FC.
But it does contain the unstoppable
Mackenzie Roby.
Impossible.
Wow.
San Diego va a anotar como visitante.
¿Tú crees?
¿Tú crees? San Diego va a anotar como visitante.
El tema...
Te voy a explicar por qué.
Sí.
Pero vaya momento de reflexión para el Toluca. Esta eliminatoria la va a sacar.
¿Y sabes qué también dicen? Que en la vuelta, el Toluca, ahora sí en casa,
Es cierto.
obviamente iban.
Es cierto.
Pero...
Essentially, that's the narrative happening over in Mexico of like,
Nobody's harsher on Mexican teams than the Mexican media.
how dare they? How dare they lose to San Diego FC? How dare they go over to the United States and play against Los Americanitos?
No, but I agree though.
Yeah.
Like those as a Mexican myself, as a supporter of Liga MX, as someone that's grew up hating MLS and everything that
You
MLS
did.
stands for,
You did.
I am
It's a
one of those
different MLS.
people that says, damn, dude, anytime any Mexican team loses to an MLS team, fuck that team.
Well,
You shouldn't lose to those teams.
well, not only
And
did
I'm
they
excited to talk
lose,
about it.
they lost and technically in an embarrassing fashion with down 10, playing against a team that was down 10 and down to 9 towards the end. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and welcome some of our pals and friends. Se me fue el Chromaniaco. We're going to go ahead and first welcome from Parts Unknown, and Parts Unknown being, NorCal, but you know what? We welcome him here in Southern California. Let's go ahead and welcome Alex and Craig, our Chromaniacs. Yeah, you get an intro. Same outro.
Wow. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. How's everyone doing?
No, it's we're doing great.
Good. It's a Monday.
Check. Can you hear me?
And
Yeah,
there's the Chromaniac right there.
Boom.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All
Craig,
right.
how are you?
All right. I had to use my iPad today, guys, because issues. Basically, because I left my adapter at Snapdragon Stadium and my wife's doesn't charge my computer right. And at the end of 2 hours of hot tub, I was at 2%. So hopefully this works for everybody. But Chiva, it's always great to see you, my friend. I see Tony and Alex all the time, but it's always good to see you.
I get it. I appreciate it. I mean, I wanted to hear the Didi Harashis on Saturday, and I was bummed to hear they had your mic lowered.
Is that in the plans? We're going with a Didi
I don't
Harachi.
hear you though. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We're good. Alex,
He'll be back. The Chromaniac.
He'll be back.
Alex, thank you for joining us
He's
in a
coming
different time zone,
in
man.
costume.
North County. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole different world over here. But
I bet. All right, let's start talking some Toluca, right? Like we got to preview. I mean, for two balls and a mic, on a sense, we haven't really talked about the match on Wednesday. I know you guys covered that. Chromaniacs caught a little bit of that, and I just want to hear like everybody's takes on it. We don't have to fully dive into it since we all know kind of what happened. Although I don't know if Tony wants to play around with this telecaster.
The teleprompter, maybe here in a bit. Maybe a little
the name
bit
that we
later.
want to still come up with a good name for it. But what were your overall thoughts, man? Just San Diego FC pulling off a win against Toluca.
it's just amazing. It's pretty crazy that this is where we're at in just year two. And I think what everyone needs to realize is like teams like Minnesota United, right? They've been in the league for 10 years. They've never been to the Champions Cup. Never qualified. For us to be here facing a top team in Liga MX and beating them down to 2 men, that's just incredible. That's just it's just it's hard to put into words, really, because it's one of those things that it's never been done before, and this is what happens, right? This is what happens for this team. All the stars align, and you get a huge win at home.
And on the clip that's been circulating around town, where I'll say I misspoke. Latin America, the best team in Latin America, that would include Argentina, Brazil, and maybe not Toluca, but they're still the upper echelon of what a CONCACAF team is, and the epitome. I even saw a couple of America fans being a little salty because they're like, well, we won the back-to-back-to-back. Well, that was then. This is now their current reigning defending. So that's where, the measuring stick is as of now. So San Diego FC go down with Marcus and Varson, who, you know, is always the first defender when we talk about that spear of pressure, and San Diego FC and Mikey Vadas has talked about it always stops from the front. Well, Marcus and Varston in the box, just kind of doing what a center forward would do when you ask him to defend, and that's raise his hand or his foot too high and almost concuss a Toluca player. Just, you know, unfortunate there. A deserved red card. I don't think anybody's arguing that, right?
No, it was a clear red card. Like, yeah, like you shouldn't be raising your leg that high up. You almost break Marcelo Ruiz's face, and yeah, like I was surprised Gallardo was the one that stepped up and took that penalty. He definitely shot it well. Nothing Durant could have done there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really you can do. It's an unfortunate accident, and you know, you just give away a penalty and a goal there, and it was good that the team learned how to regroup after that.
Yeah.
Sorry, were any of you surprised about the David Vasquez start?
No.
I don't know. Tony, were you surprised, Alex, at all?
No, I thought it made sense just because obviously you have Yepe right down the middle, and I just thought the pairing him with Valakari would have been a better game plan than Soma, because, and you know, Godoy was out because of his yellow card accumulation, so I thought that would be the better pairing. So that just meant Vasquez would start in more of the attacking role, and look, it worked out. It worked out pretty well for Mikey Vars.
Again, the impressive thing here is San Diego FC really stuck to their guns, and it looked like they were the one that were up a man for the majority of this matchup. And it's not, you know, it's not easy to be able to do that. And I think the best way that it encapsulated is that third goal. But again, David Vasquez having a night, having a day, having everything. I don't know if you saw the post match, Alex. Like, he looks like a San Diego kid through and through. You know, he is from LA, but that hat and just that moxie suits him well. In the post match, where, you know, he had a little bit of chip in his shoulder, but he was humble enough to say, you know what, I grew up watching Alexis Vega as one of my heroes, and now not only am I playing against them.
Jesus Christ!
But
how old? He's 19. That's right.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yes, but then the fact that Alexis Vega got to witness his brace as, you know, that's just an incredible sight to see. That's an incredible sight to see too, Greg.
What, just me?
Wearing his wave hat. That's very nice.
You know, you're talking about David Vasquez saying that he grew up watching Alexis Vega, which is insane to hear, right? Because, I mean, it makes sense. He's 19, but yeah, we're just talking about his performance, stepping up. Craig, were you surprised that he started this game?
No. Was I surprised he started at right forward? Yes. I thought that he would start in the midfield where he had been coming in and had performed so very well. But it's not surprising. I think we've talked about this every week on the show. Like, Mikey's going to pick the younger player. If it's a heads up or a toss up, he's going to pick the younger player and put more and commit more to him. And I think Vasquez has rewarded him for the most part so far. I don't know that he had the best game on Saturday specifically, but it wasn't that shocking to me that decision was made. But again, at forward, I was like, oh, all right, let's try it.
Once again, San Diego, we're just quickly recapping because we hadn't touched on Toluca here on Two Balls and a Mic on that first game. Just again, the tenacity that San Diego FC has kind of come forward. Have you guys noticed an uptick in just people notice and ask? Because again, Chromaniacs and Chiba, Two Balls and a Mic, kind of in the San Diego FC verse, just regular people come and asking, like, wait, is this like San Diego FC Toluca thing for real? Because they'll recognize Toluca and they'll recognize the level, but then maybe they were kind of giving not the respect that was needed to San Diego FC, because they certainly earned it.
Yeah, no, I definitely gotta say that I do have people that come up to me and just legit say, hey, like, San Diego really beat Toluca? And I just tell them with 9 players, technically, which is the crazy part of things, right? They ended with 9 players and still survived. Technically, Toluca only scored through penalties, and I gotta say, I was watching this at home, and I mean, Greg, I couldn't relate more to your. It's an 8:30 p.m. game on a Wednesday. Who the hell's gonna be there? So I couldn't relate more to that, to be honest. But watching this at home and just seeing how Toluca was struggling, it really surprised me. And the thing is, I think Toluca's very much established where if they know a team goes down with 10 players, they're gonna assume that they're gonna try to play the tie. And NWFC's not that team. And Mikey has talked about it time and time where they're gonna keep playing their style no matter how many players. I think that caught Toluca off guard. And I think it really paid off for SanDiego.FC, obviously, scoring 3.
Man, and that's the kind of like the epitome of this whole team. It just, they're resilient and they just don't give up. And we saw it last week on Wednesday, and they really did give it their all, man, because they absolutely looked tired after that match, and then it kind of led into Saturday night in Dallas too. The rotation of things, and plus there were also some players that did play a full 90 that looked tired after that one too.
So Chiva, I'm curious because it's never happened for me, but how does it feel to be wrong? Is it a deep inside your pit of your stomach issue? Is it more front of the head? Is it feeling in the back of the neck? Where would you say that it strikes you the most?
Me, along with any other person that understands what the game, how this game should have played out, is textbook that Toluca should have won this game. And yeah, I was wrong. I'll own that. I was wrong. That's fine. Was I shocked? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, Toluca dominated possession, something SanDiego.FC always have. Toluca was pressing up high in the early minutes as well. So I do think Toluca were caught off guard, and that's where they made those mistakes. And we're going to talk about the next game on Wednesday. I don't think SanDiego is going to come out victorious at all. But yeah, I was wrong. And look, I will say this. Just because SanDiego.FC won 3-2 at home against Toluca does not mean that they're guaranteed a quarterfinal spot already, guys. They still have to play on Wednesday in Toluca without Mano Dua and try to score and try to go. They couldn't do it against Pumas. And now they're going to go at the Bombonera and try to do that? That's going to be tough. I will say Toluca does not have Marcel Ruiz. He tore his ACL in this game. Thank you, SanDiego.FC, for taking out another Mexican starter for the World Cup. Thank you, SanDiego.FC. Thank you.
Oops.
Good field my ass, man.
It's the best field. And Antonio Mohamed was not happy. That was part of his excuse tour. I mean, I was the most, kind of on the side of SDFC. I said 2-2. And even saying 2-2 at that point seemed a little bit like, okay, well, maybe SanDiego.FC comes back and they show some good hustle and, they eke out a tie that's going to motivate them to maybe do something in Toluca. Did I expect the, David Vasquez brace and the just incredible? This is what season 2 is going to open to, right? In the documentary, in the Amazon documentary of SanDiego.FC, it's that match of like, what do you mean we're coming back 2 weeks ahead of schedule? What do you mean we're playing against this CONCACAF Champions fixture? Okay, altitude, sure. Now we play in the regular tournament, and now we play against the champions. What chance do we have? And they beat them. Like, sign me up. That's some good casting that needs to be done too. Mikey Varas asked himself.
But hey, listen. When has SanDiego.FC taught us as young fans of the club to doubt them, to second guess, to believe that their failure is inevitable? Nowhere along the line. They have been consistently outperforming expectations, consistently setting high bars and surpassing them. And I think the classic, and I've thought of it myself as well, right? I mean, you're around sports long enough, you see the patterns, and you say, okay, well, that great first year, everything went great. So this is going to be the year where everything doesn't go great and where all the decisions are questionable and so on and so forth, because that's just the nature of sports. And they go out and they beat Pumas and they beat Toluca at home. and they're undefeated in 4 in MLS, and they look like they might be one of the 3 best teams in MLS and going forward all year. One of the 3 best teams in MLS. They have a chance to improve in the summer window. They have an academy that gives them an advantage over every other second-year team in the history of Major League Soccer to continue to build upon what they do without becoming erroneously expensive, where they have to start cutting key players just to stay under the number. So all of that is to say that, sure, they're not supposed to win on Wednesday. They're supposed to lose, 3-0 on Wednesday. They're supposed to give up a goal early, go into their press, give up a goal late in the first half, and then probably a third when they're pushing to try and get a goal on the board late in the game, gassed, playing at 8,500 feet elevation. That is easy to say. That's easy to call. But what in SDFC's history and pedigree and build up and character tells you they're going to do that? But if I tell you that they're going to draw 1-1, is that shocking? You know what I mean? Is it that shocking to say that they sneak a goal out and they defend their asses off and they get out of there with a draw and somehow escape with the tie? I think they could do it.
Yeah, I believe that too. It's as long as it's like as long as they keep it close. All they have to really do is not give up that goal to Toluca and just either draw or get ahead, and that's all they got to do. So yeah, I could see that 1-1.
Well, they had to get through Dallas, and they had 2 players that maybe they weren't counting on for that match. And, in a vacuum, a 3-3 draw against Dallas away isn't the worst result. It's actually a good result if you really think about it. The way how long the season is, the way that the circumstances around it. You do have a lot of young players, a lot of rotation, a lot of,
I saw a lot of people upset that they tied 3-3 against Dallas.
A lot of people that were upset.
And I couldn't wrap my head around why. I get it. It feels like you lost that game just the way it kind of ended. But when you really put it in the context, like, you had to rotate the squad because you have arguably now, again, the most important game in your history against the second leg against Toluca. No, you have to rotate the squad, right? Mikey has told us time and time again that the best team is always going to play. It doesn't matter what's going on. He finally kind of realized, like, well, you know what? Like, this next one is going to be tough against Toluca because we won't have Manu Dua or Invarson, and we're going to have to, like, sub those players in. So let's give other players a break. But yeah, this starting lineup, it wasn't surprising. I wanted to see Soe, like, oh, how do you pronounce? Am I pronouncing it right?
Sue, like a boy named Sue.
Was not very impressed in this match. Pedro Soma there. I wanted to see what Alex Mayen can bring to the table. Good to see Godoy back in the starting lineup. But yeah, like, no, this is, I mean, you still get Bombino playing pretty much a whole game. You still get other players like no Duran Ferry. So I couldn't get mad at the lineup, to be honest.
Can I just point out that this lineup highlights, and again, I can definitely be a Duran Ferry stan, whatever you want to call it, or sometimes it's first cup stan, but definitely a Chris McVay stan. Like, his leadership back there really matters. His leadership next to Manu Dua is what gives Manu Dua the freedom to be as just ludicrous with the ball at his feet and have those opportunities. But now it's Manu Dua laying it off to Sue, who then kind of, mixes things up a little bit in between him and Cisniega not having the best skill at the ball at his feet, and everything just kind of becoming a traffic jam inside the small box. That goal was going to happen every single time in this match, in the situation, in FC Dallas. But anything else stand out, guys, for the starting lineup for you?
I think we talked on Chromaniacs about maybe we were being really pie in the sky, and big-eyed, but thinking that Zamblé might get an opportunity. Obviously, Maiten has been there a lot longer and is a lot more integrated and connected into the system and what they want to do. So I completely understand why they made that decision. But the fact that we really didn't see Zamblé, I thought that would be a young guy that they might, take a look at. And also, anytime you've got Bombino on the right instead of the left, I think we've now pretty firmly established that you're going to get a lesser version of SDFC because you get the worst version of Bombino, and also you don't have the dynamic ability that he brings to the left side when he's playing. So you kind of get worse in two positions when you do that. You understand why. And again, they're saving for Wednesday, but on Wednesday, I want to see him on the left side.
Yeah, same here. And what the other surprising thing was we didn't even see Morgan in this match either. And I thought it was a good time to bring him in just for, I don't know, 30 minutes and to get some minutes in here before playing. I'm guessing he's going to be playing in Toluca without Invartson out there. So yeah, no Zamblé, no Morgan. Mighton, he's not my favorite, but he was actually the most forward player in this match. Like when you look at all the charts, he was the man that was pushing the ball forward and trying to get touches in the box. But that just means Invartson and Vasquez was playing more of a midfield role in this match than he was a right winger. And Invartson, I thought he wasn't even out there for most of this match. Like it did feel like they're playing with 10 men all over again. So like I think that was like more of the frustrating part, where it's like we see some of these guys progressing, like in Martin. I think he's progressing in a way that some people like, some people don't like, but I think this one was like a step back in terms of like his development here with the team.
Well, I would just tack to that, Tony, that he's an older player that was playing his second match in 4 days. True. And I think that those leg issues show up on an older player more than they do on a young player. And I mean, you and I in our other version of this see this all the time with the Soccers, and we saw them get just bully-ragged on Sunday by a team that was younger with fresher legs, playing in a situation of fatigue. And so I think that's one of those things. I'm not making that as a call yet, but it's something that you can think about with Invartson going forward. Is does he have that ability when it's a multi-match week to be able to bounce back and be the best version of himself the second game?
I also found it interesting that they gave him the second penalty after Oni had scored the first one.
Yeah.
SanDiego FC really hasn't had a set penalty taker. Dryer's penalties aren't necessarily the best. Before, Chucky also took some of those, but I think it was a confidence booster penalty for Marcus Invartson, just knowing, hey, you're going to sit on the shelf and not going to be part of this important matchup. Let's get you on the score sheet. Let's get you scoring. Let's get that muscle still going. And then we'll see you, in MLS play after CONCACAF Champions. Because, yeah, I was like, well, Balacari's been having a couple good games. He, if anything, could benefit of having that second penalty taken, because then he develops real in-game time situations. He can decide to shoot left, right, or just a little bit added layer in mind games for the goalkeeper. But either way, Marcus Invartson scores. Good for him. But I just kind of want to point out just the goal essentially for Dallas, kind of how it breaks down. And we've seen this from SanDiego FC. We've seen this exact play be cleaned up 100 times, and it gives everybody a heart attack. But the one time that it happens, it's praise against for Musa, the Croatian forward here, who does what he needs to do, create the press, create pressure, and Pablo Cisniega, just kind of caught in a weird spot with a heavy touch from the back. Sue doesn't clear it. He has just hound dog by 3 players, and this is a SanDiego FC goal on the other way. Like, this is what they give up. Like, you're not shocked that this happened. And is it frustrating? Yes. Is it frustrating because it's like clear it. In the match, actually, if you go back into the film, the way that this ball is supposed to travel is it's supposed to go out wide to Bombino, and you can hear Bombino call for the ball from Sue. Let me see if it picks it up here.
Valiente will pressure the ball. Cisniega got away with a heavy first touch.
He's just asking for it right there. Hey, open it up. Open up the ball. Knowing already, Bombino already knows that the pressure,
Right.
you need that outlet, but Sue decides to
Diego got away with a heavy first touch. Still the
and there's nothing for anybody to do because again, Bombino understands what's needed and required in that moment. It's that outlet, and you know what? If that means clearing it from there, that's what that means, or moving forward. But this is the worst case scenario in a situation.
I think this as well is just now you really saw what it's like not having Yepe in that situation because this guy's an anchor there. He is the engine. He communicates. Where Soma is, Yepe would have been like, pass it now so he can open it to Bombino, like first touch, or he would have said just give it to Bombino already. But Soma doesn't have that experience as well. So again, this is a classic. You live by the right to dream, you're gonna die by the right to dream style. And Mikey has said it before. Like he can't tell the players you gotta clear it sometimes. Like no, you gotta stick to the style and the routine if it's going to work. We've seen it work, but when it does, this is gonna happen. And a lot of the times it's not gonna work, and you're gonna concede goals like this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex. Yeah.
Oh, just real quick, just like a few seconds before that, what you were showing, Tony. Soma was actually he was pointing to Godoy to do a point pointing to Godoy to pass in that direction. But yeah, that whole left side was open for Dua to get that ball out. And for some reason, he was just like, nope, I'm going to pass it back to Cisniega. And then that's when trouble started. And I think you're right, Chiva. If Yepe was there, I think, getting that ball back, in Yepe's position instead of Soma, like he probably would have done something differently there instead of trying to go back to Cisniega and out to Sue. But yeah, that pressure from FC Dallas, it was there. I mean, it was there from the whole start of the match, and they capitalized.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is this is a mistake by Sue, and Bombino's an option, and sure, earlier Godoy was an option, and neither of those options were called. But I know on Ben and Woods this morning they brought up that goal in terms of like, well, boy, we sure missed Duran Fari's footwork. Well, not on that play. I think you missed Chris McVeigh on that play a lot more than you missed Fari. And I think that very exact same situation could have occurred with Duran in net, where the ball is then turned over right in front of him and it's a goal. So, Tony, you said it really, really well. These are the types of goals that this club is going to concede. These are the types of mistakes. And it is sometimes aggravating to watch them playing rondo in their own box, and play possession games in their own box. And you're like, just boot it out of there. Just give it a long kick to the middle of the field. But nonetheless, that's what happens along the way when you, the reason people were mad is because you were up 2-0 and 3-1. It's that simple. No matter what the circumstances in this league, you're up 2-0 with a good team. You figure you're going to win. So, mistakes like that are the way that you get to 1 point instead of 3.
So your guy, tu gallo, Craig, Pablo.
Yeah.
Pablito has a situation coming out to pretty much the edge of his own box.
What a clearance from Dua, though.
Yes. What a clearance from Dua, indeed. But Pablo Cisnea coming off his line and, just trucking. Player, boom, bomb.
I mean, come on, fair play.
So, and again, that's just kind of the if you think about what he's even doing there, right? Traditionally, if it was up to Pablo Cisnega would have been on his line and waiting patiently. But because the style requires him to be playing a little bit up top, out of position, ready to receive the ball, he literally is caught in no man's land. And those are the consequences of having a player in net who isn't as comfortable playing as a sweeper keeper. And he swept them. It just didn't touch the ball, unfortunately. It's a mistake and a part of the system that, kind of is the weak point of Pablo Cisniega's game in Right to Dreams, in SanDiego FC. And this is why I believe, Duran does have that, starting position locked in for Toluca. But what's up with your guy, Craig? I mean,
he was playing regularly, and then all of a sudden you're going to shut him down. Going to get add the rust to the edges of the firmament there. No, I'm not going to make a bunch of excuses. That wasn't a great play for Pablo. But then again, there was Dallas racing down the pitch, basically unimpeded. So him charging is, it's a decision, right? I mean, I think staying on the line would be a terrible decision. That would give them all the angles to shoot and get a goal kind of automatically. He came crashing out. That's an aggressive play. Sometimes it'll lead somebody to shoot too early and miss, or pass the ball wide and the situation, comes up empty. He made contact after the ball was released, and, it's kind of a yucky penalty to me. It's just it's an outdoor type of call, right there. And again, those are the kind of mistakes that take you from 3 points down to 1. And also, I believe, I forget if it was in our text chat or not, but it was like, okay, after this game, I understand Duran is going to start on Wednesday. And like, this is our situation. We said it on the Toluca post-game show too. Duran's the starter. Like, we get it now. Duran's the starter. Cisniega's the backup. Dos Santos is waiting for a transfer or an injury to get his opportunity somewhere down the line. Otherwise, he's going to be hanging out with, maybe he's guarding Chuki's shots on the backfield. He's like, oh, you need a goalkeeper? I'm available. But, short of that, Duran is the starter now. And, let's go. We ride.
I don't know if you guys have ever wondered why Cisniega hasn't had a starting role in a club. Like, he's 30 years old. He's had a career. He's been in the game for a while. Have you guys ever wondered why? Why is this guy, if he is good, like we've seen him be good, a good goalkeeper, why doesn't he keep that starting role somewhere? It's because he's not consistent. And again, I think he gets in his head a lot. And, any person would when you lose your starting job to a 19-year-old. If you're working your day job and then the next thing you know, you're like, damn, this 19-year-old kid just took my job or got this promotion over me.
After you were named Employee of the Week. I think that's really important.
Yes.
After you had your best match to beat Pumas on the road, and we all said he was the man of the match, and it was an undisputed thing, and your reward was a contract extension and a benching. It was, here's your deal. By the way, here's a 19-year-old we're putting in front of you, which means you have no chance. If he takes the job, it's not like he's going to age out of it before you're out of here. You are going to be on the bench for the next 2 years. I could see it taking a psychological role on Pablo, and I could also see him overplaying the next match as a result of that, and maybe making a mistake like the mistake you just put up there. And if you need me, Pablo, to serve as your public defender, apparently I'm up for the task, because I'll come up with a narrative that'll help support this no matter what. But I do think there's something to that, I mean, there's something to being a veteran who just has played your best game ever for this team, and your reward is the 19-year-old is going to start, and by the way, he's going to keep starting.
Guys, just 3 weeks ago, people were saying, oh, he should get a call-up to Mexico. And I sat here and said, y'all are crazy. What are you guys talking about? He should get a call-up. And people are like, oh, well, he's playing like that. I'm like, dude, no. What are we talking about here? And you saw it. Why? Like, 19-year-old Duran Farid took the starting job with 3 games. Like, I mean, again, it's only a matter of time before Duran gets a bad run, and then CJ steps up, and CJ gets a clean sheet, and then he becomes a starter. And then something happens where he messes up, and then Pablo's up, and it's just going to keep rotating like that. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Traditionally, soccer history, that's a bad thing. But for some reason, for Right to Dream and SanDiego FC, it's working out. Tony, you're a goalkeeper, or used to be one. Like, does that do you like that dynamic of knowing you have a starter now, but then a couple bad games, then someone else steps up?
I'm in the Boris Pardo school of thought, where I will be removed from my starting role even if all of my limbs are falling off, I'm still mad that I'm getting subbed off. Like a goalkeeper needs consistency. A goalkeeper needs to know his defense and be the captain of the defense, right? The goalkeeper is the only player that sees the game the opposite way. And because of that, you need to go ahead and just come up with strategies and ways to put your defenders and call them and communicate with them in different ways. The school where Cisniega comes in, it's that boisterous, hey, I need you to over here, move over here. Duran does speak a little bit, but what you see is the system speak for Duran. And again, that's where this systematic ultra instinct version of SanDiego FC is heading, where they don't even think of the way that they play. They just do. And with Cisniega in that goal, once again, that became a tire fire with Sue. The moment Cisniega gets the ball, it's a heavy touch. Everybody is already like altered in panic, like, oh no, I got to be super neat and super careful. Ball goes to Sue. He's like, okay, move forward. And 3 people come in, get the ball, and they score. Cisniega tries to clean it up and does well, gets a block, but essentially it's not enough. But it's that consistency aspect I feel that is most important for a goalkeeper.
You know what it is with SanDiego FC, guys? I don't know if you guys knew this. It's a fact about orcas. But orcas, how they communicate, like if one family of orcas has a different language than a different family of orcas. They don't communicate the same. And that's what SanDiego FC style is. Like any other soccer player can't communicate that style unless they learn it after a while. And yeah, like I don't know why I got that. As soon as you opened your mouth and started saying like, oh, Duran Free communicates this way, it just came to my mind.
I had to say it. Got it.
You know what, Shiva? That's why we live in San Diego and not Orca Town. Okay, because we evolved beyond them. We can communicate to each other in a common language, not just each family comes up with their own language. Highly inefficient.
Top of the food chain, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like we're living under the big orca flag and submitting to their. I've learned 2,000 languages.
Oh man, but yeah, it's drop points in a way when you're considered one of the best teams in MLS.
Fine.
But it's a point. What do we say? 3 points on home, great. A point on the road, fantastic.
Yeah,
isn't that the saying in soccer?
It's fine. It's an okay result, guys. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much what kind of like I was expecting more of a win, but it was just a different rotation that I wasn't expecting mine to start really. That one was the one that threw me off, but he actually played pretty well. But when you're up 2 goals, you should be able to kind of close it down and get the win. And it just, yeah, you left points out there, and it's still, you can't win them all. So, getting a point's not that bad, but you could add 2 more.
What stinks more? Sorry, Craig. Like I feel like a lot of people are very upset about this tie, but I think it also plays a role that they had a chance to also be on the record of 4 straight shutouts for the first time in MLS history, and LAFC actually did it, and now they have 4 wins with 0 goals conceded. So I feel like that's what's stinging a little bit for a lot of people that are supporting SanDiego.
From 30,000 feet, it's a perfectly fine result, but up close. You're up 3-1, you should win. You're up 3-2 at stoppage, you should win, right? That's pretty straightforward. So you've got to be disappointed coming away with 3-3 because of the circumstance that you put yourself in, which is to be ahead 3-1. And at that point, you think you're going to see that match out. And we were going to talk about the charmed life of SanDiego FC. That's what we were texting to one another on Saturday during the match. Like, they can simply do no wrong. This is a Cinderella team in the sense of everything's glittering and or is there fairy magic involved? You're trying to figure it out. But in this case, it didn't happen. And the clock struck Orca, or was it midnight? I'm starting to get our narratives confused here. But that's where the differences were on that Saturday night. Now, if they go win on Wednesday, no one will give one flying fig about what happened on Saturday.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tall task, a tall order, Alex.
Yeah, and I think what we saw on Saturday was a tired team, and for SanDiego FC and FC Dallas just wanted it more. They wanted the win and or at least get the point, and they went out and got it. So we can't we can't we can't blame SanDiego FC for doing this rotation because we know what's up ahead. Toluca is right now, it's more important than this MLS regular season match in March, on March 14th. Right. It's not gonna, it's not gonna hurt you in any way down the line. So the focus is on Toluca, and I'm for me it's actually a really, really good thing to see that. If I would have saw Dreyer out there for more than 60 minutes and Yepe, and that would have worried me for Wednesday. Like I would have been like, well, what are we gonna do? Like we're gonna have to. They're gonna be tired by they're gonna be maxed out and they're not gonna be able to close this match out. So I see this as still as a positive. I see a lot of positives out of this. We saw what SanDiego brings. We saw what Sue brings. Maybe you don't bring those guys into Toluca, but there's still a lot of room for growth for both those guys.
Well, do you guys want to hear from Mikey Vadas and how he thought the team went or team did?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Kang.
Sure. I'll always love to hear from good old Coach Mikey.
All right, here's Mikey Vadas.
English speak about hard-fought match on both sides. Last time we were here, came up with a 3-2 win. Today they played a 3-3 draw, just kind of what you see in the competition against FC Dallas. And then also just on the goal scoring capability of the club tonight, marked the club's 75th regular season goal. Just what your thoughts on the club's options in scoring goals from everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's a group mentality that we want to score goals and we want to go after the game. And I think the team showed that those intentions were strong. And then ultimately at the end of the day, it was a pretty inconsistent performance from us. So we just opened the door and rolled the dice a little bit too much in terms of how the result could end up instead of controlling the game like we usually do.
We'll go ahead with Ivan. Go ahead.
Ivan, go ahead.
Come on, Ivan.
Yes, Coach. How do you take this match and talk to the guys and prepare them for the next, trip down to Toluca and having to play this 3-3 draw and then now heading down to a tough match?
It's time to go to bed.
We make the honest reflection that tonight was a bit of an inconsistent performance where we had some really, really good moments, but we had too many individual errors and sloppy moments. So you take that reflection because you need to look in the mirror and at the end of the day, feel that disappointment. But we had to have a really short memory. We know we're a very good team, and it's just about a matter of refocusing ourselves, get in the shower, let this one go, make the little improvements that we know we can, and then from right now to the moment that whistle blows, everybody is just 100% focused on preparing the next game.
It's refreshing, right? Because we always hear Mikey. He's always very honest, but this is one of those times where he's like, we have a bigger game coming up, and that's where his mindset. You can tell. A lot of the times when you're in a press conference with Mikey Varas, you can tell any game that they don't win, he's upset, and he understands like that they should have won that game. This one gives the body language. It's really giving. There's a more important game happening on Wednesday. It's a long season. Who cares about this one?
The look of resignation in the eyes of Mikey Vadas right there. Look, I mean, it's all true. It's all true. And if they don't pull the result out of Toluca, if they don't advance through the tie, then if you really want to be that guy standing on the corner, you can stand on the corner of they should have tried harder to win Saturday and they were chasing tilting at a windmill. But I think that's the wrong way to go. I think they have. I think they have the right to dream of an advancement in Toluca and of playing a magical match that lifts this franchise to puts a line in the Wikipedia for all time. With a game on Wednesday, and that's something pretty damn impressive. So I'm fine with all of it. Completely fine with all of it.
Let's preview this Toluca game. Oh, go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's just like this is a chance for a trophy, and you don't get those chances, a lot in during the season. You'll get this chance, and then Leagues Cup down the road, but this is like your best position to do it, and hopefully by May you can raise that trophy at Snapdragon Stadium. But something that you brought up, Chiva, and you want to win something. This is a competition you can win.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like it's a trophy. It's a big tournament. It's a big deal. Like, the winner of this goes straight into the Club World Cup, which is restructured, and it's a lot more fun to watch now. So it's a big deal to me, and I feel like anytime you're facing against one of the best teams in Liga MX history, like it's a challenge. And now you played Pumas, who historically are one of those teams, and yeah, they have like 8 champions, like not even, I don't even know how many championships they have, but they're one of the big 4. But now you're facing Toluca, a team that has won the championship 12 times recently, back to back, and you're going to go into their new stadium, La Bombonera. It's going to be tougher than the Pumas game for sure.
Well, here it is. It's one of these legendary sort of stadiums, grounds, teams of Toluca, a sacred Liga MX place. You don't want to be a visiting team here. You're not going to be comfortable. I don't care if it's CONCACAF Champions. I don't care if it's a midweek game. Toluca is a tough place to go. And then you add the elevation. And then you add how SanDiego performed in elevation last time. And you'd hope that they'd have some lessons from there. And even with all the lessons learned, is that going to be enough to push this team forward into a dream scenario, into just past Cinderella, just kind of stories? Because then you just become the belle of the ball. Like, you are one of the favorites in CONCACAF Champions if you move past Toluca.
And
go for it, Chifa.
Yeah, no, I just want to really get your take. Like, Craig, I already heard you say, like, it can happen. A 1-1 tie, you somehow pull off a score, but I can also see a 1-0 win from Toluca. That's very doable as well. And are you guys worried that Manu Dua is unavailable for this one? I'm not even worried about Invarson being out, to be honest. It's more Manu Dua's absence.
Yes, because as the reigning Dua stan on Chromaniacs, I think he's arguably the best player on the whole team, and at least most important. Certainly, Dreyer is the best attacking player and has the best offensive skill set. There's no question Tverskov is the best passer and is the metronome of the team, and is critically important. But Dua has been that guy. Now, as Tony talked about earlier, I think that Dua gets to be as spectacular as he's been because McVeigh is as steady and positionally sound as he is. So, McVeigh will be there. That's great. But Sue, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about. I do know how I feel about that. Scared bleepless. If that's how it's going to play on Wednesday, that's where I see Toluca scoring. Is right through that. So, yes, concerned and deeply curious how Mikey wants to play this, because as he learned quickly at Pumas, at 7,000 instead of 885, when they tried to run forward, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. It was a complete disaster. So does he consider literally 5 men in the back? replace Dua with 2 guys, and make it look that way. I think anything's on the table. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll even necessarily discuss it, but I think anything should be on the table in this circumstance.
I would be shocked if they go five back line. I would. I don't think it's too complex. I think you just put Pilcher at the center back. He's his natural center back. Like that. Let's not forget he adapted the right back role because everybody was out hurt. So I think he starts with McVay and Ian Pilcher at the back line, and I feel a lot more confident with Pilcher knowing that he played a lot of games last season. Then you start Verhoeven on the right or Bombino, and you put Bombino at the left. You get Yepe on there. Valakari starts. I would even lean with, if you want to play it a little safe, you probably start Godoy this time. Then I know Vasquez got praised, but you think you go with the experience here. You start Godoy, and then you have your up 3. You have Dreyer. On the left, you're going to have Pellegrino, and then you have Lewis Morgan probably starting in this game. Unless, okay, if you want to give David Vasquez his flowers because he scored a brace, you throw Vasquez on the right wing, and then you start Dreyer up top.
False 9. Which is what they did essentially when
they've done it before.
Carson, kind of goes down. It's just let them free roam, but you have that extra kind of body in there, and you're kind of more predictable in a sense because you have 11v11 in that situation.
I see in the chat saying Valakari could also be a false 9. He started as a false 9
here at SanDiego.FC. Yeah, he did.
He just not the best finisher. He's gotten better this season so far.
To give a little hope, this last weekend, SanDiego.FC is going to have to go ahead and do what one team just did in La Bombonera in Toluca, which is Atlas, who in the last 9 seconds,
a minute after Toluca had scored, the goal as well. So we're going to this game with Toluca in a similar situation where they're winning and then they get tied at the end in the extra time. So they also heavily rotated their squad. They're missing Marcel Ruiz, who tore his ACL on Wednesday against San Diego, and he is a motor. He is one of the best midfielders Mexico has right now. He was going to start for La Selección this World Cup, and now you're out that player. You have Alexis Vega, who started in this game, who got minutes on Wednesday as well. That's their leader. So I can see Vega even starting on Wednesday.
And they're mad. They did not like losing against San Diego at all, and embarrassed. They're the laughing stock, even though they were undefeated, even though they're so high at the table. That kind of knocked them off their perch, and now they're not winning. They're getting tied up in the last second against Atlas. Alex?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they line up. We might see Fernando Arce, get those minutes that for Marcel Ruiz. So, that could be an area where San Diego can attack, but tough matchup. That back line is going to be interesting. It really is. Chris McVay is going to be good, but who are you going to pair him with is going to be a good question. And I don't know if I like the options. It's either Sue or Pilcher, and I don't know if I like either one. So maybe they get creative. I mean, this might be a good chance. Yeah, maybe back 3, back 5. Why not get some midfielders? You have pretty good midfielders, so why not do something a little different?
I know they're not going to do that. I mean, I brought that up just saying, how do you replace somebody like Dua? Maybe you add another person into the mix. But Chiva, I think you're right. I think it's going to be Pilcher that starts. I think Sue was given an opportunity against Dallas to try and prove his way in as the younger option, and he didn't show at the type of level that would give them confidence to put him into that match. So I do think that's going to be the case, and I think that SDFC needs to play very bravely on Wednesday, and they need to count on things working out for them, essentially, and I kind of, the more I think about what's going on up top, I don't know. I don't think Morgan is the choice. I think it's Vasquez. This kid scored against every Mexican league team that he's played against so far. Let's let him ride one more time. And you've got an opportunity to switch off of that if you need to in the second half or in the 60th minute. So I like that. I like Vasquez. And then Morgan can be the guy who jumps in as the first sub into that spot.
Well, let me tell you how you do have a back line of 5 by having Duran Free there. And if you have Chris McVeigh, a right-footed center back, you have Ian Pilcher, a left-footed center back, and anchoring there in the middle to distribute is an ambidextrous Duran Free who can go left, go right with the ball, very comfortable with it. But you have those outlets outside, and then you don't have to crowd that box in the middle. You have options to go ahead and go and do that. He's a right-footed player, but if you put a right-footed player and a right-footed center back, the lane of transition is going to go through the right, which makes it a little bit more predictable. Or if you're brave enough to go to the left, then you are subjecting yourself to kind of putting Bomino in a tough spot. But that way, it's just more conducive to opening up the play from the back and really kind of having that dominant effect that San Diego FC really likes to have. One of my favorite things in watching any San Diego FC highlight reel, and thankfully Apple TV puts them together this way, is that the goal that's built up and the highlight is started all the way from like a minute behind, and you can almost tell. And I want to find there's going to be a goal eventually where every single player in SDFC touches the ball before it just goes into the net. And that's a sign of just beautiful football for that to happen. But San Diego is pretty much there. The third goal with Anders Dreyer against Toluca, that ball started because they dispossessed Toluca in the final third. They moved the ball around through Yepe, through the defense, all the way to the middle. You had Dreyer playing in a center attacking position, and he has to hustle his ass all the way up top because there's no center forward, and then put himself in that position. But that all starts from the back end. I think that's your fifth center back, Duran Free, who can use his hands, and he's proven himself like that. But Toluca is going to be expecting that, and Toluca has to have a better game plan and has to be lethal when it comes to playing this. And we saw how dangerous they were in those last couple of minutes. Herninho was not playing, which is the player who scored the last penalty after a red card. He's a player that is very dynamic and can really change a game for Toluca. So they have the ingredients really to really say, hey, if you look on the bench spot for Toluca, the best team in Mexico, their bench would be a DP in MLS. Like, that's how deep this team is. And so by the book, on paper, Toluca should be coming out with this win. But will they? Yes. And I think they're going to be playing San Diego FC for a tie. If they just can get a tie and survive, score, and then survive, I think that's the path to moving past Toluca on Wednesday.
Here's the thing, right? Where this is the mindset I feel like San Diego City really needs to go in. They scored 3 against Toluca. This is a team that's currently undefeated after 11 weeks into their season. They've only gotten scored on 6 times in the season. And San Diego scored 3 in one game. Like, San Diego FC really needs to go in with that confidence, knowing that we are that good and we can beat Toluca even at their home. In hindsight, Toluca underestimated San Diego FC last Wednesday, and they're that good of a team where they're not going to underestimate San Diego FC a second time. So that's where I'm really interested where the mind games are going to come from, and I really do think that if San Diego FC don't win this game, it would be a matter of Turco Mohamed out-coaching Mikey Varas, which we've seen happen with some experienced coaches before. So I can see that being the possibility of why they don't advance to the quarterfinals.
Okay, maybe yes, but I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Why wouldn't it be that they failed to advance because they were playing at 8,700 feet in one of the toughest stadia in the world, in front of one of the great crowds in the world, against one of the great teams in the world that had more pure talent than they did? Toluca's supposed to win. They were supposed to win last week. And so in that case, is Mohamed just trash last week? Is he worse than bad? Because, I mean, they lost. We're talking about SDFC. I mean, in my world building of this, 1-1 is the way that it happens. Like, I can't imagine them scoring twice. I think if they do, probably there's a penalty involved. There's probably some sort of mistake, like a handball in a box, like we saw against Dallas, that type of kind of flukish thing. But I can't see run a play 2 at plus 8,000 feet. Similarly, I can't see 0-0. But, I think the range of outcomes where the game is up for grabs, but Mikey presses the wrong button, that specific pattern, I think there's a few of those possible outcomes, but I think there's a lot more of the others. Where we go 1-1, or whether they win 1-0, or whether things get out of hand.
I just want to point out real quick that last time SanDiego FC played against the Mexican team and booted them out of the CONCACAF Champions competition, their managers kind of went to a downward spiral. This is Puma's head coach, just kind of, this is last week. That's where that's at, just mentally. SanDiego FC can do this to Turco Mohamed, maybe.
That's after tying a game with a given penalty.
Yeah, tying a game with
We've ruined the man.
Which is, again, an unfortunate term, getting CONCACAF, but
that could be it. I mean, that's probably there's got to be twice as many chances of that happening as of Mohamed specifically outmaneuvering Mikey.
Okay, come on. Don't dish Mohamed either. This guy is a legendary coach and he knows what he is doing.
Yes.
I will say, yes, and that happens in soccer all the time. The best. I mean, how many times have we seen Man City get trashed this season? How many times have we seen Real Madrid get trashed this season in the league, and then they go out and beat Man City 3-0 in the Champions League? That's part of the game. That's part of any sport. The best team can get trashed any given day. That's just the beauty of the game. What I will say is, going back to the referee getting CONCACAF, the ref last Wednesday was awful.
Terrible.
Dog shit. But he was consistent, and Mikey Varas has asked for consistency in referees, and he was consistently bad both ways.
That guy. I told Abe in the box, I was watching it. As soon as that game started, I'm like, he wants to be the star.
Yeah.
He wants to be the protagonist.
I hate those type of refs.
And you just...
as soon as I saw on TV, him going like sip it to Yepe, who's the captain, who's the one player that you should have communication with, I was like, this ref is full of it.
That's who needs to cool it down, I feel. Like, not even cool it down.
Yeah.
That's who needs to keep the cool. And we heard how important Yepe was last game. Honor Stryer was saying it, how Yepe was the one that had that constant belief that they can go ahead and win it. He was the one that was going out there and just being a captain as he is. But, in the face of injustice and just a complete lack of respect for the rule book sometimes that CONCACAF has and the refereeing, these are the games and the what you play for. This is not Europe. This is not Europe, and this is not as clean, even though over there they don't get it right all the time either. But it's a different game. It's frustrating, but that's something, as you know, Craig, magic spray in the indoor game in Chihuahua, the dark arts are definitely something that have to be taken into consideration. And it's sort of those intangibles that SanDiego FC just can't control, but they can be prepared for.
Oh, I have completely expect every single tiny ounce of that on Wednesday. Hard tackles and dives. Guys screaming and yelling every single play for a card. Everybody losing their mind, the game getting increasingly physical each minute that Toluca isn't ahead on aggregate. And until they get to that point, I expect to see a maniacal style from Toluca. I truly do. And, I've seen enough critical matches, must-win matches in Mexico to know how that goes and what the bait is for the U.S. team that's down there, which is to take that bait, to take a swing, to lose your mind on something, and you're going to see that card up so fast, it'll blow your mind. So, look, that didn't work out for Toluca last time, but I wouldn't bet on it twice. So I think that is a really important part of Wednesday's match. It's one of those things that you don't want to talk about it. It's kind of a pain in the ass to even bring it up. It sounds like pre-whining almost. But it's also a reality of what you're going to face on Wednesday. You're going to face a situation that's extremely hostile. to the visitors. And that's what makes the idea of emerging all the sweeter and all the more dramatic. And again, I just want to set that level before we wrap this thing. I know you guys got the rest of the show to do. Like, if they win, this is the friggin' pinnacle of the history of the franchise. This will be a win that'll be talked about 20 years from now. I mean, literally, in the 20-year anniversary, they would talk about a match like this. So the victory is the end of a sports movie. It's that exciting. Them losing is a documentary. It's nothing, you know. I mean, it's just a report on the news at night. That is dog bites man, you know. But man bites dog is somehow SDFC coming out with a result from Toluca, which would be the stuff of legends. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it in that really excited, hopeful sense, but also knowing it can completely go the other way, and that's fine. But the chance is there, the opportunity is there. It's something special.
I think something that can also play into San Diego's advantage is that the stadium won't be sold out either. Like there won't be like tens of thousands of people either. It'll be kind of similar attendance as what Snapdragon saw. This is a Wednesday night game. Craig, we were complaining about an 8:30 p.m. our time game. This is going to be a 10 p.m. their time game. They're 2 hours ahead. It's 8 p.m. for us, 10 p.m. over there. It's going to end at midnight.
They're 1 hour. Just
no,
for the
right
time
now.
change.
No, they switched the time too.
They switched it?
Yeah, it's also 10.
Oh,
actually, no, you're right. It's an hour. My bad. I reread this. It's going to be a 9 p.m. start time.
Oh,
it's disgusting.
Still.
I was told that they like it later in Mexico. Somebody told me that. I thought it sounded ridiculous. I'm like, maybe, but who wants to go to anything 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night? Come on.
Well, just to kind of give an update on where San Diego FC is, and we'll talk about it with Luke Jenkinson, the head of human performance at San Diego FC, which is really cool stuff. Just like the nitty gritty nerdy stuff, the data guy. Like I want all of that, just more. Thank you, San Diego FC, for that. But he mentions that San Diego FC is currently in Dallas. Will stay in Dallas and will travel tomorrow to Toluca from Dallas. So that's going to be their regiment to be prepared for a late start. Trying to control as much as they can. They want to control what they really look at and controlling is the times that the players eat, and want to maintain that consistent as possible. Because then what the data showing is that you eat something a little bit too late, even if it's good for you, just that gastrointestinal reaction messes with your sleep. Like it's really nitty gritty, but it's incredible. So San Diego FC will be traveling tomorrow into Toluca from Dallas.
I think they depart at 8 p.m. Like a night flight. Over there.
You know what's really interesting about that, real quick, is that, and I heard this in regards to San Diego State as well, some of the new sports science research on altitude and performance. It used to be not very long ago, guys, that it would have been absolutely locked in, rote and routine that SDFC would have gotten to Toluca immediately. They would have flown from Dallas to Toluca Saturday night, because the idea was you wanted 3 days, 4 days to get acclimated to the high altitude. But the new sports performance science, I'm going to be very not scientific and just tell you something someone else told me. But it is that it's the second and third day that you suffer the most when you're up there. And the first day, your body's kind of in shock and you get away with it almost a little bit more. I mean, obviously it still is hard and really hard at 8,000 plus feet, but that's why. I mean, knowing how nerdy, nitty gritty, scientific SDFC is on the sports science biohealth range, it's clear that they believe that too, because they're leaving as late as possible to get to Toluca instead of as early as possible.
That makes sense because remember the former NFL team that used to play here, they would go to Denver all the time and they would do different things. So we're going to show up like a few days early and then, they don't perform as well. So I understand that part of it, and hopefully from last week, I always thought that game 1 was going to end in a draw, and then San Diego can come in and beat Toluca away, and I still kind of feel that way, that it's going to be almost like a 2-1 game for San Diego. I don't know how. I just feel like that's just the way it's going to go, because it's who thought they were going to win 3-2 with 2 men down.
No one.
I think that
No one in the world.
It's almost like the most ridiculous, impossible thing is going to happen again, and or it could be the opposite, where it's like, oh, it's just a 0-0 draw and they advance on aggregate still. So, but I do feel pretty good about this. You got the lookout just right where you want them, and I do feel like they have the confidence to knock them down.
Give me all the results in the world. 0-0 is the one I think is least likely to happen.
Mm-hmm. and then it's going to happen. Watch.
Sure.
If Anders Dreyer goes and scores a brace against Toluca in Toluca, this guy has to go back to fucking Europe, because he's a cheat code over here. Like, what are you doing over here? Go play Champions League soccer with another team that can compete. I'm sorry, Craig, if you don't want to hear that, but I think that guy's wasting his talent playing over here.
Sure.
That's just my opinion.
If Anders Dreyer scores, it's almost like an automatic win. Like, we still haven't lost when he scores. It's that's an incredible streak by itself. I think we're going on 19, maybe 20 games since last season.
What's the matter with cheat codes, Chiva? Seems like a great way to win a video game to me.
Yeah,
it is. Especially if it's Grand Theft Auto. Tony knows all about that. Now, if you ever get the opportunity to watch Tony play GTA, you will be so entertained, because this guy knows all the cheat codes.
You'll be disappointed in the atrocities that happen in an open sandbox type video game. That's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we're not. But yeah, no, like, my thing with that, Craig, is that he is wasting his talents playing in North
really
America.
hate SDFC.
No, anywhere. I mean, when you're that good, you at that age, you shouldn't be playing here.
There's probably a reason why he's playing here, like you said.
Yeah. It's called getting called up to the national team and getting his name out there, and it's working.
Yeah, but
sounds like it's been a great marriage, and he should continue it, which he has contractually.
I think, and we'll talk about other players that are in this league now. When you look around the league, there's a reason why they're here, and it's probably because it just hasn't worked out in Europe, and it's the same case with Dreyer. Like, he had a good run, and do you think like he can return to that type of form once he goes to Europe? I don't think he can. It's hard, like going to Europe, and like this. Obviously, MLS is a step below any European competition, but he had his chance.
Competing against Messi.
No, I agree.
Who wouldn't want to compete against Messi?
I'm sorry, no, wait, I agree. Like, there's no way in hell he can't play at Dortmund. Like, he's not that good. Because think about it. Anders Dreyer is this good playing in MLS, yet he doesn't start for Denmark. There's 2 other guys that are way better than him that get called up and play for Denmark. Yepes Verskop is one of the best players in MLS, one of the best midfielders in MLS, yet he doesn't get called up for Denmark, because they have probably like 7 guys that are way better than Yepes Verskop. And those are the levels from MLS to anywhere in Europe.
Guess what? 9 were better than 11 of Toluca, and they get called for the national team all the time. So I hate bashing Mexico and with the truth, but that's just the reality of it. Like, if that's the reality, this is also the reality. And I'm not here to defend or deny. Just sounds like you're just throwing just stones in the glassiest of houses.
I think what we've heard and what we've seen is clear, and it's the truth that now the truth has come out. Chiva has already put Galaxy through Mount Pleasant and their trip to Jamaica, but he's really worried about the next round. And so, as he said, if Anders Dreyer scores a brace in Toluca, he must immediately be shipped to Europe because that way your beloved Galaxy would have a better chance of advancing through at San Diego FC.
If San Diego FC go through, they're gonna beat Galaxy, and then they'll either face Cruz Azul or LAFC, which is going to be another tough matchup.
And you'll be ready to just say no.
We're back here again.
Look, man, do you want me to just say SDFC is going to win in Jenkinson, Craig?
No, I want you to stay right in your lane, brother. This show has clearly, sharply defined roles, and I think you're playing yours very well.
Yeah.
Didn't know you were
very good. He's a very good heel. He's a very good heel.
Yeah, the evil team has to win sometimes in the game. Yeah. Otherwise, you even have a red mic. I mean,
glory, Man United, guys. Glory, Man United. Third right now. All right. Beating Aston Villa this weekend.
That's fine. But all right, so that's a yes from you, Alex, in SDFC advancing. Craig, does SDFC advance? I don't need a score. Do they advance?
I'm just gonna stick with 1-1. That's what I came in with, and that's what I'm gonna walk out with. 1-1.
They don't advance.
They don't advance.
No, they don't.
Just out of curiosity now, what's the result?
I'm going to go 2-1 Toluca.
2-1 Toluca. So SDFC gets a score, but somehow.
I think Toluca are going to know very well how to get under the skin, and something's going to go down. The ref is going to play a big role in this game, and I think San Diego is going to see somehow's going to get a little bit the shit end of the stick, but I think Toluca are going to advance.
We should put something on it.
I don't know. Whenever I do predictions, I fucking lose, and now I got to walk the Snapdragon next month.
Well,
or 2 months.
It's a long walk.
I didn't know you're such a Toluca fan too.
I fucking hate Toluca.
I hate him too.
I hate Toluca.
I can't stand him as a
They caught up with Chivas, my all-time favorite team in championships. I hate Toluca with that passion.
Well,
Los Choriceros. I think San Diego FC is gonna eat chorizo this weekend. This Wednesday, not the weekend.
I think. Yeah, no, you can't hide it, right?
Oh man,
admiration, not disgust.
Yeah, it's tough for me to bet against the data in San Diego FC, and San Diego FC have just pushed the boundaries of what is possible. Like I was standing, watching this game unfold in front of me, the 3-1 against Toluca. I was in disbelief at 1-1. That shouldn't have happened.
You were standing in the press box?
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm just making sure that I was seeing everything as like, am I alive? Is this truly happening? I was told by Chiva this is the best team in Liga MX had to offer. There's no way this should be happening with 11v11, let alone 10v11. San Diego FC will move forward. San Diego FC will move forward. I don't know how. Don't ask me. I'm not a future teller.
I hope you guys are right. I hope you guys are right. I'm putting any bias and passion aside. I'm logically speaking, Toluca should be advancing here. That's the logic. That's the soccer stats. That's like that's just what it is. And again, San Diego FC have defied all the odds time and time again. But I just can't bring myself to say confidently, yes, San Diego FC is going to come in and take over and dominate and win this game or tie, whatever it is. I think Toluca at home are a force, and they should be able to pull off the win. Anything happens in soccer, and if San Diego FC advance, will I be shocked? No, I won't be shocked because they've done this time and time again. And I said it about it last week. Like Toluca, I think they're gonna win 3-1, right? That's what I said last week.
Yeah, you did.
Will I be shocked if San Diego FC's not gonna pull it off? No, because they've freaking shocked everyone so many times already.
If 1 + 1 is 2, what happened on last Wednesday in that match is 1 + 1 = 3, 2-1 favoring San Diego FC, and that's just the logic there. Like we're moving past different types of math. We're creating new rules. Like this is uncharted territory. San Diego FC has a chance, and the fact that they have a chance is incredible. It's more than a puncher's chance, and that's what I said last time. A puncher's chance is just, this team can maybe get 1 or 2 lucky shots, lucky looks at goal, maybe lucky just opportunities, but it's more than that. Like they have a game plan, and they have a chance to execute it, but do they have the legs for it?
Correct. This is what I was talking about, where it's really going to come down to the coaching of Mike Ibarra. If they approach this game and change tactics and say, we're going to sit back and defend because we're already up 3-2 and we got to defend this to like 90 minutes, they're going to fucking lose. They got to go at it with the same style that they've done all year long, all in their whole history, which is attack, and win and score. If they change tactics in the slightest in the start of that match, it's game over for San Diego FC.
I don't necessarily agree. I think that when you're playing at 80,000 feet, sometimes you have to change tactics because you're just going to drop dead. The players are just going to have strokes and die. Now, I think they will be brave, Chiva. I'm only very slightly disagreeing. Like, I think they should be brave. I think they will be brave. I don't know if they can play 75 minutes of hard pressing and then be able to defend the last 20 and not concede 3 goals because every single person is beyond redlined. They're just all dead. That would be my concern. What we saw at Pumas, which was a lesser team at still extremely high altitude, I think very similar in terms of the effect it's going to have on the club, is that, you know, their attempts to score were pathetic. You know, mostly it was, there were a couple of chances, but for the most part, they were just dead on arrival in the attacking third. So can they be dynamically different than that? Did they learn something sports performance way from the first time that they played, that they're going to, attack in a different style on Wednesday? I think that's really interesting to find out. But I just don't know that they can be of a singular mindset of we're only just going to do this thing if that thing is being done practically at the top of Mount Whitney.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Tony said it last week that San Diego needs to slow it down a little bit. And that's what I expect on Wednesday. Just kind of slow it down, hold your position a little bit longer, and just make the small passes and just try to advance that way, and not try to go for that long pass that's gonna take a little bit more energy out of you, unless someone really is like, unless Dryer's like wide open down there. Don't try to force it. Just play smart. I think everybody on this team, they're very cerebral. They know how to handle this type of game. So that's pretty much what I'm expecting out of this match, and we should see a really good match. And Toluca, for the first time, is on a bit of a slide right now. They lost against San Diego, getting a point. They feel like they lost that game late in that match against Atlas. So this is like they're going through a rough patch right now for at the Toluca. So we'll see what kind of team comes out on Wednesday. If they're going to be hungry and wanting to win this match, or it just continues to be the same type of team that we saw last week, that frankly kind of just gave up once they were up a goal.
One thing is that they have not faced San Diego FC playing their game plan. Once you throw a red card in there, you're in an improv mode. You're just trying to survive, and that's kind of what happened here. And San Diego FC survived and thrived, but Toluca still doesn't know what a fully available 11v11 San Diego FC is supposed to be. You look at those stats, Toluca had the possession. Why? Well, they have another dude on there. But if San Diego FC could potentially control the momentum, control the tempo, because they have everybody available, and that's not what Toluca is ready for, to be controlled in that same way and be lured in, and just be smart about it. And I think that's my biggest thing. San Diego FC has to win the game up here, up in the head. They have to be smart about it. They can't get baited into silly little fouls over and over again. It's going to be a hostile environment. You have to make sure that you make the right safe play every time. If you're tied 0-0, if you're up 1-0, if you're down 1-0, because the moment you start to have that lack of focus, they're going to score a second one. And at that point, if at any point this goes 2-0 Toluca, sure, make the miracle even greater when SanDiego.FC comes back. Like, fine at that point.
Look, guys, I think this is a match of suffering for SDFC. I think they have to be committed to the pain because I think they're going to experience it for like 99 minutes. I think that Toluca will be given like a ridiculous amount of stoppage time at the end of the match. It'll be like, how much do you think you need? We'll give you another minute beyond that. So my personal view of it is that we get a lucky goal against the run of play and hang on for dear life and give up one, but don't give up two. You know, and I think that that's something that is available to this club. I personally, thinking back and watching back, like, sorry, but the first 12 minutes where we had 11v11 was probably the worst that SDFC played in that match. They did not look good at that time. I think that getting cut to 10 in a really, really weird way was beneficial to SDFC because it sharpened their focus in a way that they didn't have the opportunity to do with their full 11-man system, like you were talking about, Tony. It sharpened what they had to do in the back. It changed the mindset, but also Toluca was not ready for it. Toluca was expecting move A, and we did move Z, which was to go forward more down a man than we did at even strength. So I think it's unproven whether SDFC is going to be able to play within those restraints in the tie. The second leg of a tie like this is to me a unique event at altitude. And again, I'm not saying 5-man line or 8-man back line or whatever until the 95th minute. Then I say, Red Rover, Toluca come over. You know, we'll line up in front of the goal. But I don't know if we're pressing down the field and attacking early in the game. I mean, look, it's SDFC, man. What the hell do any of us know? Let's watch this thing and see if they pull another rabbit out of their hat.
I think the thing that you have to factor into this, which is why it makes me think SanDiego.FC are going to come off as strong as they can, it's still away goal. You know, if you go down 2-1, you're out, even though you tied on aggregate. But if you scored 2 and you somehow late in the game scored a third one, and it's a 3-2 game, 3-3, you're forcing Toluca to have to score 2 more and get to 5. Because then if they win 4-3, then they're still out on the away roll. So that's why I think it's so important to get an early goal for SanDiego. Try to get to 3 if you can. They can do it. We know this. I really do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But I think pressing hard and trying to get ahead of the away goal early, I think that's the reason I think that's what they should be striving for. Yeah, you're thinking about the altitude. You're going to be tired. You have subs for a reason. Like, you have Yepe, who's a machine. He's not going to stop running. You have players that literally can do this. And then you throw in the other kids in the bench that can run for the last 10 minutes. I just think the away goal is the strategy.
Sick backpedaling. But it's going to be an interesting match. And look, SanDiego.FC being in here, they won as far as I'm concerned in terms of this tie. You know, they beat Toluca at home. Wasn't supposed to happen the way that they did it. Great. But it's going to be a fun match to watch, depending where you're at in the world, right? TUDN, Fox. Have you guys done the complete transition to TUDN in Spanish for these matches?
Second match at Pumas. Yes, I watched the whole broadcast.
I get my Fox through a gray market site that doesn't have TUDN. I do not have the cable that has TUDN. So I will get to enjoy Anders Dreer play one more time.
And maybe get cut off in
the
middle of the 20th
potentially
minute.
If Iowa State needs to play in the first round of the NIT on Wednesday, then, you know, they might have some breaking coverage on Fox Sports 1, which is just terrible. It's universally awful. But that's that. VIX, okay, VIX, $9. Thank you.
Another subscription to add to the pile.
I get my brother.
Yeah, seriously, Tony, you know.
All they got is FS1.
All right. Well, I think we've covered and talked all San Diego FC and prepping. Again, we'll be back with Craig, Alex, and I post match for this matchup. It's gonna be fun. Regardless, it's gonna be fun. The visuals, the fact that San Diego FC is even in this in year 2. Again, if this is year 2, guys, like get ready, because this is the standard that they're setting for this club. Craig, real quick. Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
your thoughts on Wave, real quick.
I wish that the stoppage time was 1 minute less in the first half. That goal was against the run of play. 0-0 was the deserved result of that game. Didinya and Ludmila and Gabi Portillo, when they get it together, are going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Didinya is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they just need to figure out how to get the two of them on the same side of the field, because they had Fazer trying to run up and get in on a lot of those Didinya passes, and it wasn't working, like, over and over. I'd like to see that get a little bit more locked in, but I think it will over time. I think they're going to be a pretty exciting team. It felt exactly like a half dozen games from last year, where they were just the better team, and then they'd get to 22 yards out and they'd make a mystifyingly bad pass or decision. They'd just give the ball to the other team. And of course, Jane Campbell played like she should be the national team starter, and was just ridiculously good on Saturday. So those would be my Wave thoughts. I'm excited for the season. I think it's going to be a good season. I think when they start getting into expansion teams and whatnot, and I thought it was a particularly bad thing that you had Mackenzie Roby and Daniel Colaprico on the other side of you on that game, and that Roby winds up being the one that scores. It's kind of like the old, okay, a little stab in the side there. That hurt. But Wave, really excited. Soccer's still kicking. Phil says they need to win their last 3. I agree. They need help then too, but Baltimore will be at Milwaukee and Baltimore will be at Kansas City. So maybe one of those teams does the Sockers a favor and they can win all 3 and get the shield. But they just need to get their healthy players back. That is for sure. And lastly, this is my right now dream about Wednesday, which is if SDFC doesn't advance, we do the Chromaniacs on Thursday. And that's the Chromaniacs. If SDFC advances, I think we just open the live stream like immediately after the game ends. And Chiva jumps on, I jump on, Tony, Abe, whoever. Tony, if you have to go to the mix zone, you go to the mix zone. You show up when you show up, because that would be a party that everybody would want to be a part of. If SDFC actually advances and beats Toluca, that'll be this incredibly special moment. If they don't, we can take care of it on Thursday. But if we do, maybe we just throw it open as a party line, and like, who can jump in? Oh, can Abe jump in right now? Cool. Can Chiva jump in right now? Alex and I are there. Who else wants to jump in? We'll get memes up here. We'll go crazy. Bring in the supporter group. Whatever we want to do. But like, just party if they advance.
Down for that. 100%. Well, thank you guys for joining. And again, find this after the CONCACAF Champions Cup match, San Diego FC versus Toluca. It's the second leg, 3-2 aggregate. It's going to be an exciting time. Craig, Alex, anything else?
That's it, guys. Have a good rest of the show.
Yeah, no, we'll bring Woods on. Screw it.
There you go. Yeah, now Woods will be asleep before the game starts, unfortunately, but it'd be nice.
Well, wake him up.
When you wake up every day at 2:30 in the morning, you kind of do understand, like the idea of a sporting event starting at 9 being anathema to you. So, yeah, to me too. I get it, Woodsy.
Can't wait to watch the show on Thursday, is what you said.
Oh, Chiva. I know. I know.
Well, with my logic, that's what's going to happen.
Correct. Yeah, it's just about world building. He's been consistent all the way, guys. Excellent job of heel work today, Chiva. Excellent job.
Chiva, You will see it on Thursday because the pros game is going to start at 12 a.m. at midnight.
Yeah. There you
Great
go.
call. We'll still be live on Thursday for sure.
Yeah, we will.
Thursday night,
There you go.
8 p.m.
Well, the replay is available on YouTube immediately. You can watch it whenever you want.
Rewatch it. It's fine. All right.
All right, guys. Take
All right,
care.
have
Have a good night.
Have a
guys.
good one. Knife goes in, guts come out. Knife goes in, guts come out.
Fun
we
combo.
have somebody coming in on the other side.
Yeah,
because
we
this
do.
was great. San Diego FC talk. Didn't even get to use my new video. But with that said, I need to update this. What?
You make all these videos and then you're like, oh, you didn't even get to play the video. Play the video.
Yeah, it's new.
It's different than the
fact that you don't recognize that it's different hurts me. Hurts my
I'm
soul.
Sorry, you make so many videos. Let's talk some San Diego Wave and bring in our favorite guy ever, Abraham Cepeda.
See, I had planned to update
Abe.
this wave. Wave.
Hi, let's
Wave.
talk Wave with Abe.
I was gonna update that video for San Diego Wave with whatever happened this weekend, positive wise, but nothing
much.
Nothing much happened. Hi Abe, how
Make
are
a
you?
Jane Campbell highlight video if you wanted to, but I don't think you had that many great things from the wave on the wave side. But it was a fun game. Great to get some NWSL action back. I was
That's a lot of
enjoying it. It was good to be back there, right? Chiba? I felt it's a different vibe.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was telling Tony that he wouldn't have been a fan of what the meal was at the press box.
Real. I would have been fan any meal.
I think we need to start talking more about what the meals at the press box, because I think people in the chat really enjoy hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time ever at Snapdragon Stadium, at least, that couldn't control your portions. It was a pre-packaged meal.
You talking shit?
I'm not talking shit. I thought that was interesting. The food was really good. It was a lot. Yeah, I didn't finish it. It was a lot, but it was really good. I liked it. It was good to be back for an NWSL, like Abe said. The lineup came out, and I think a lot of people were a little surprised that Mimi Van Santen was starting. Abe, were you surprised about that?
Yeah, I definitely was. From what we saw at Coachella, it seemed like maybe Kiki Pickett would be the one that would take that right back spot. Everyone else seemed like a pretty foregone conclusion in their positions. But yeah, Mimi Van Zanten coming straight out of college into that right back spot, filling the hole of Hannah Lundqvist was surprising to me. But she played pretty well for the half that she did appear in.
Your starting lineup for San Diego Wave here, down in the goalkeeper, Didi Haracic. Then you have Kristen McNabb, the classic San Diego Wave player at this point. Just vintage, comes with and as long term as you can, all 5 years. Kennedy Wesley, co-captain there. Pearl Moroni, the French player, left back. Van Zanten, as you're saying. Laurina Facer in the midfield, along with Ken Zadali. Gia Corley, who was best player for San Diego Wave, I would say. And then Dudinha, Ludmila, and Portillo, the Brazilian front three.
I gotta disagree with Jack Corley being the best player of the game, in my opinion.
Okay.
I was a little disappointed. But let me tell you, man, I think if she would have played the whole game and not came out because of an injury at halftime, Mimi Van Zanten was probably the best player for Wave in the first half. I thought she looked so comfortable out there. It made me tell Abe, wow, the way she plays, San Diego Wave is not going to miss Hannah Lundqvist, because she was so comfortable. She was moving the ball up. She was cutting passes. She was making the tackles. Like, it almost seemed like, I mean, she's a natural right back, and she was killing it at that position. I don't know. What were your thoughts on Mimi, Abe?
Yeah, 100%. And to do it also, and like something that was kind of hyped up by the whole league of her playing with her sister, was kind of another storyline that I was following. She had like basically her whole family there wearing like that split jersey thing. So it's definitely a lot of pressure, and a player like that, young player like that, you expect, maybe they'll sub on late, but Jonas Eidevall had the confidence to say, hey, you're getting the start. And she played really, really well. Just like you said, making those connective passes and having that like connective tissue that you need when you're playing the Jonas ball and like moving the ball forward. And then also on defense, she was pretty good too, able to rush back and make a few stops, even though Houston really didn't have the ball very, very much in this game.
Yeah, no, this was a game where from the start, in all honesty, San Diego Wave dominated. They dominated the possession. They had the most shots. It was just, I think, just again, first game of the season, and they were struggling in just getting the ball in the back of the net. But Houston had a great game defensively, and their goalkeeper had the game of a lifetime. I think 9 saves is what the stat line showed.
9 great saves. Abe, you had a point?
Yeah, I was just gonna say all it took was one moment, one disorganized moment by the defense for it to all kind of tumble down on them. And it's crazy how like small these margins are, I guess, in the NWSL, where like you can dominate, you can be super duper good. And it's kind of a little bit of the opposite of what SDFC did. They were able to like take advantage of being down so many players with like a few like moments on defense that you take advantage of them. And then Houston does the same thing. You're in the run of play. Mackenzie Robbie's taking advantage of Kennedy Wesley, who's just like the entire back line was kind of ill positioned on that goal. And it's really like the only mistake that they made. Like they're all just kind of like keeping everyone on side, and Kennedy Wesley was trying to like keep things more organized, and then it was just eventually led to the goal. And I know a lot of people are upset about the corner kick. The Wave had, I think it was 14 corner kicks in this game.
I think it was a missed call. Like it should have been a corner kick. It wasn't called a corner kick, and that's how they got that pretty much like counterattack where Mackenzie Robbie just outruns Kennedy Wesley and gets this goal.
Yeah, I don't think it's a product necessarily like the missed opportunity of the corner, but it's the fact that the missed corner led to an opportunity for Houston when the added time had already expired. By the time the play happens, if you're looking at it here, the play of that non-corner is already the 51st minute when 5 minutes are added, right? And rightly so. You see Ludmila just in disbelief because she knows this should have been a corner. And it's just a marginal error, but nonetheless, it does cost a great slide tackle. Like that's a fantastic slide tackle.
A great
for
tackle
sure.
for sure. It should have been a corner.
But then directly after, you're now in minute 52,
like 20 seconds after, yeah.
And Houston just kind of just throws one up there, throws it up, and Mackenzie Roby out there, and she knows what she needs to do. Just a slow roller past Didi Haracic and 1-0. Who would have thought? Mackenzie celebrated too.
I think Abe and I were talking about it before. Like, you think she scores a revenge goal? Like, I'm like, I kind of hope so. Because I love seeing myself a revenge goal. It doesn't matter who's playing against who. Like, I love seeing players scoring against their former team just to see if they're going to celebrate or how they celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think her celebration caused for any disrespect or anything. She was just happy she got on the scoring line on her Houston debut.
There was a couple of Houston fans up in the stands too. It might have been Mackenzie Robbie's family or people that she's become friends with here in San Diego, because there was like a couple dudes out there with their shirts off going crazy when she scored. I don't know if you saw that too, Chiba.
Yeah, and I mean, she kind of pointed at them after celebrating, and I think you're right. It's like friends that she's made. She was here for what? 3 seasons? 4 seasons? 5?
Yeah,
no, this is the
4
fifth year.
seasons.
4 seasons. So yeah, and then they come out in the second half, and they keep their foot on the pedal. Like they keep pressing, they keep attacking. Jonas makes subs. He throws in Kimi Ascanio. He throws in Mel B later in the game. He throws in Leah Godfrey. Those were kind of like the first 2 people that we were all chatting about, like who should come on. And I'm like, oh, Kimi Ascanio should definitely come on. Leah Godfrey had a good Coachella Invitational. She should come on as well. And I think they helped out a lot. I like what I saw from Godfrey coming on. And I think what Craig said earlier, once the Brazilian players kind of start getting like the chemistry going, they're gonna be fun to watch. But I also need to say, like, if Kimi Ascanio and Leah Godfrey continue to develop their game and play the way they play, it could end up taking one of the starting spots.
Yeah, definitely. I will say I had one problem with one of Jonas Eidevall's substitutions, in that he really highlighted Melanie Varsenas's play and what she brought in the like one-on-one sense at the end of the game. And I think he was right. It was a good move, but it was already like the 77th minute or 74th minute. Like, there's no reason why he couldn't have done that earlier, honestly. And for how well she played in this game, wearing the number 7, she looked a lot better than I think we've seen her in the past. Like, it's one thing to like be doing the moments and getting the highlights and then not really finding the final pass. She was kind of able to find a couple more final passes and then also draw fouls too, which I think something that's maybe been a little bit lacking in her game. She won't kind of take that foul. She'll try and keep the ball for too long, but she got 2 yellow cards in this game, which is a big deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Mel B technically, honestly, should have probably came a lot earlier. And I think if Jonas would have said something, oh, she's still coming back from injury, she's still on like so many minutes, like she can't get more than so many minutes or whatever. That wasn't the case. Like, he just threw her on. And I think that has to do a lot with last season, because she was injured and she didn't play as much. And he knows Kimi Ascanio, how she can play. He saw a lot from Leah Godfrey during Coachella, where, he trusted her to come on and make the impact. But yeah, I think the way Mel B played, it could potentially get her more minutes in the future. And I think it's just a matter of time before she starts making an impact coming off the bench and potentially becoming a starter.
I mean, this player here by Godfrey, right? She was the one that lays off the pass, and Ludmila just scrapes the bar again. Great positioning by Campbell again, who had a fantastic match. But this is the same old San Diego Wave. It is the first game, but if you start to see a pattern of this, is when it does become the same old San Diego Wave, and there's no real growth. And I think that was my question to Jonas Eidevall, like before this match in midweek meet availability, of like, how have you grown? Has your style grown? How has your development as a coach kind of come in? And he said, like, very humble, like, yeah, no, there's things to learn all the time, and I've myself learned and just kind of the temperament on the touchline to this type of league. But he's looking for the next evolution, or as he would say, the evolution of San Diego Waves play. And right now, I can see where he's going with it, with his new toys and new players out there. They can go ahead and maneuver. But, Houston Dash just came in and they had, what was it? How many games losing streak, Abe? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
For Houston, I'm not sure, but it definitely wasn't great.
Wave.
Yeah,
they played 9 games. Wave has won 5. Houston now won 2, and they tied twice already.
Let me check on that, because
are you talking about like their Houston's last however many games, or Houston versus San Diego?
No, just Houston's however many games without a win.
Okay. I can look into that.
Oh, look at that! Last time that they won was 3-0 against San Diego Wave last year.
Wow.
Nope, excuse me, Chicago Stars, but still.
Chicago Stars were also the worst team in the league last year by a country mile.
Exactly.
They also beat Casey Current in October.
NWSL, man, that's crazy. They beat Kansas City. That's so dumb. Okay.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's canon, for sure. Let's hear from some of Jonas Eidevall and his post-match words to you guys out there, Abe and Shiva.
Jonas, your team dominated tonight, 70% possession, 9 shots on target, 14 corners. What was that message at halftime to the team, conceding the first goal right before it ended, and then just coming back in the second half and just keep dominating and taking those chances?
It was exactly like that. That it was really important to not sort of letting that define that way we were going to attack the game. Of course, we don't want to concede a goal, but we can't think about the past too much when we're playing the game. We have to think about the future, the next action. So that was really the message. I think we were doing some things really well on the pitch, and I think we're we showcased a lot of variation when we had the ball. We created chances on numerous of ways. I think it was really nice to get to see both new players starting for us and with the energy and the quality they can have, but also players coming from the bench and being able to showcase that. That's really important for us. I think one part where we have to improve on, and again, it's quite natural with the little amount of time our defending players have spent with each other, is just how we work together as a unit in the back four. There is a couple of times there where we lose our organization, and it's just a few times in the game, but it becomes quite dangerous every single time we do that against Houston. And the reality is, in a league of small margins, we have to be very careful with those, and that's a really important one for us to improve.
Jonas Eidevall on his team's first performance, and I mean, it kind of, again, attention to detail, the details.
Catch the full press conference on SanDiego.Futbol's on the YouTube page.
Absolutely. Abe, encouraging words from Jonas, or just kind of very matter of fact in terms of what actually transpired in that matchup?
I think it's a bit like more of the same as far as what we heard from last season, but I think he is right in the sense that like you can see the start of something and like relationships building and connections on the team growing, especially like I think on the front line. Like I think Ludmila, even though she's a really strong striker, you can tell that it's kind of in an individual sense right now. And once she connects with the front line and what like Jonas is trying to do, it could look a lot stronger. And then what I think is most interesting too is like the Wave could be adding, are reportedly going to add another player from Brazil who played for the U.S. Women's National Team that is going to be like an even greater threat on the attack, and that's just going to like change things and change that dynamic so much in a really interesting way.
Who's that, Abe?
Oh, you mean
Comes a new challenger.
Catarina Macario, yeah.
Catarina Mercario.
The former San Diego Surf, I guess you could say legend, Stanford University alum. I think
Stanford. Interesante.
Something that we hinted at. I was a little bit cautious still in how the whole saga went down with all the reports and leaks and different areas, and then the Champions League getting left off the roster. It all seemed a little bit confusing, but it seems like the agent knew what they were doing and they got the bag, man. This is a huge contract for Catarina Macario.
It's been reported that it's $8 million guaranteed, and just absolutely moving past, just kind of anything that's been here locally or nationally. The next closest would be Trinity Rodman for $6, and what she's being paid.
But that's 3 seasons though, so technically AAV wise, Rodman would be making more. But I mean, $8 million is no joke in the women's game. That's huge.
So how much does the paradigm of San Diego Wave shift with a player like Catarina Mercario, who some people may not be completely aware of it, some people may not completely know and be familiar with her game? Most recently, she combined along with one former San Diego Wave FC player, Jaden Shaw, in a beautiful goal that she scored here.
Guglielmo couldn't get there. Jonas will pick it up. Number 13 for Lily Johannes. Forward it goes towards Cat Macario. Macario goes to tip the keeper.
Dang. That's coming here.
Is that at Miami Stadium? I think that was right. Yeah, that looked that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Catarina Macario has a really strong goal scoring opportunity. But the real question is though, since that game in December, what day was that? That was like early December, right?
Yeah, that was 3 months ago.
So her last Chelsea game was December 14th. She hasn't played a game since then, and it's not really clear whether it was because of an injury to her foot or her kind of not playing with club because Chelsea knew she was on the move, and they wanted to ensure that they could transfer her without her getting injured or something, which injury has definitely been a huge factor in her career in recent seasons, especially at Chelsea. I think I read something from an English reporter on The Athletic that said, like, yeah, Chelsea has not been at all what they expected from Catarina Macario. She's had like positive moments and glimpses of great games, but over the course of the couple seasons that they had her, she's definitely not like completely lived up to what they expected. So I think that's the main question mark with her is like when she's playing well, she's like unreal, super dominant, connects with all the other players on the team. She was super good with Olympique Lyonnais, but if she's not healthy, that's gonna be a big question mark.
But does Chelsea keep anybody healthy? Yeah. Who was
Naomi
it?
Grimmo dealt with injury for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. They just lost another player that came back on in the first like 2 minutes of play. And official, also local product, it went through the ranks of Chelsea. Is this Cat signing equal to Potter signing Manny Machado? Actually, funny that you say that because somebody who doesn't speak soccer, who speaks baseball, asked me, Adrian, he's like, hey, explain it to me in baseball terms. And what I told him was, well, if you really think about it, this is kind of like Manny Machado coming into the landscape that had a Eric Hosmer, that had a Will Myers, where they're good kind of level players, a good player. But now you have somebody with the money and the talent to back up why they're paying that money. But is that going to be enough to switch this whole organization to the positive, right? San Diego Wave is still trying to climb back up and still trying to find their way into redemption, into kind of coming back from that horrendous season that they had 2 seasons ago. But is this, face of the franchise for sure, but on a playing side of things, is this enough to start switching that narrative?
No, but it's enough to start getting more butts in the seats. And look, this was Abe a month ago.
Oh shit!
No,
okay.
yeah,
Chula Vista.
yeah.
Ugh.
Imperial Beach.
But I mean, sure, I don't claim Imperial Beach.
I do think I think it's a good chance that she could sign with the Wave, but I don't think the story's done yet at all. I think there's still bidding wars happening behind the scenes. I think there's more stuff that's going to be coming out.
I think the Wave play this first half of the season before the summer break is going to have it up, Chiba.
I think it's play.
You're about to see. That's crazy. You cut the clip right before you're about to say that he doesn't. That she's not going to join until summer. Okay, she's joining like now, which is
I know. That's why I'm like, shut up, Chiba. You were wrong there.
Yeah,
we all thought it was going to be a summer move.
I think a lot of people said shut up about tonight.
It is crazy. Like they're paying $300,000. It's like I think what this does say about like ownership is like you're putting money where their mouth is, in the sense that you are paying $300,000 for her to join now. They could have waited. They could have paid the same contract and waited until the summer, but they said, we want this team to start winning now. She's a great player and she needs to connect with everyone else now and start building those connections and learning Jonas ball. That they're dishing out that money to Chelsea now, even with the potential injury concern to her foot that might exist, but also might not be that big of a deal. So that's honestly the biggest move by ownership since they've gotten the team. Obviously, it's like they're signing a huge contract, but yeah, since the Alex Morgan signing, really, he's like, you're bringing on a U.S. women's national team star who, when healthy, is without question in the starting 11 for Emma Hayes. Like she even has that connection with Emma Hayes. Like it's crazy.
This kind of makes up letting Girma go for the
Sure.
millie, you know?
Sure. I mean, you have this money because, at some point, in some residual way, right? You gave away Girma, and you
What do you
got
think was
paid.
the selling point? Obviously, the large amounts of money, but was it hey, come train where you used to train as a kid? And that she's like, yeah, I'm down for that. Like, old
It
home.
seemed like she was bound for the United States and was kind of over being a part of English football. She joined Chelsea as part of like an Emma Hayes recruit, and when that first head coach is no longer there, it probably feels a little bit different. She feels like she's getting like treated differently as well. And then when you see other players like Lindsay Heap, sorry, I almost said the other one, making the move, like you kind of probably thinking to yourself, hey, if everyone's making the move, it's good for the U.S. women's national team to like help build back the NWSL and then have those connections. But she like this is massive for the Wave though.
So we've all agreed that Alex Morgan's signing is the number one sports signing in San Diego history. Then probably Manny Machado. Then probably Chucky Lozano. Is this more important, or does this cross Chucky Lozano signing? You're going to look up Instagram, aren't you?
How many followers does Manny Machado have?
I think we have to see how well she plays, because she's a U.S. women's national team star without question. But if she's not playing at a high level or is dealing with injury concerns for at least 2 seasons here, it's gonna look a lot different. But I would say definitely smaller than Alex Morgan. Probably smaller than Chucky Lozano, because with the national team, she's been good, but hasn't done it at the World Cup level, the Olympics level. I think she was part of that bronze medal winning team, but not a huge part of it. So it's once like the world, like the international appeal hits Macario, which is definitely possible, then it becomes completely different. But like she won She Believes Cup with them, and like that's her biggest trophy, I think, there.
Well, if you have for about similar amount of money, Trinity Rodman, had she moved here, it would have been, oh my goodness, this, passing Chucky Lozano, I think. Or on par with Chucky Lozano?
Rodman would be bigger than Chucky Lozano, yeah. You know how much money Nike is probably paying Trinity Rodman? Is she a Nike athlete? I think Macario's Nike for sure.
I'm not gonna answer that question. Sorry, it's my fidget.
You're declining. Here.
I'm declining.
No comment. Okay.
No comment on that.
This is a good point from Brad too. Like if she was with the U.S. women's national team for the World Cup or the Olympics, I honestly think her missing that World Cup was a big deal. Do you remember that? Like that Alex Morgan might have not gotten called up if she was available. That's how big of an impact that Macario had at that time, especially.
No, it's going to be a big signing for San Diego Wave for sure. And again, a testament to what they believe in. And again, putting their money where their mouth is for ownership. And it's a great step moving forward.
I hope Jeff's not wrong this time. Not like he's ever wrong.
Yeah, why would you say this time?
No, I think this kind of move got reported because the NWSL transfer window technically closes at midnight tonight. So maybe something changes. Maybe another NWSL team swoops in. You never know. But when the article comes out, it got first reported in Sportico, which Sportico is like the money one, the money outlet usually, where they have all the business of it all. So that sounds to me like they got some pretty good sources that knew what was going to happen.
Well, it seemed like it's going to happen for sure. Vlaco was building around her for the World Cup, and then she tore her ACL. Yeah, 100%. And then, ACL United here for San Diego Wave at some point too.
That's a lot of soccer team.
Yeah, sure. But, I think they're putting a lot of eggs in that basket. And so far, so good. Like there hasn't been a player that I can point out like, no. Nuclear takes. She's close to Joe Corona with loyal. That's disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. For sure.
Joe Corona,
all right. All right. So, huh?
She's a huge signing without question.
San Diego Wave. Well, now start and we'll be away against Utah. Before coming back against the Portland Thorns. Do we see Daniel Arias play when Luisa Agudelo goes in goal? Maybe. I could see that, just that connection and just a goalkeeper who doesn't speak the language.
Real quick with you, I'm curious, what did you think about Didi Hericic's game? Does she look like a starting goalkeeper that can play for the full season?
No. I don't think she got tested much, to be honest. And the few times she got tested, one went through. I think Sheridan has more field awareness than she does. And I think that's going to play a factor in this, especially with the high up lines that Wave likes to play and that Jonas likes to play. Like Jonas likes to push up those lines, like up to that midfield line, if not more, if they can. And that's where Sheridan would step up very high up into the pitch. And I don't think Didi has that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's the goalkeeper battle is wide open for Wave.
Yeah, I thought there was like one moment where I thought she maybe could have come out and she stayed in her box. That didn't look great, but then she made that like great save that with the shot that came at her right in front of her. That was definitely a tough save to make. But overall, Didi Hericic is an okay option, but still leaves a little bit to be desired, I'd say, in that starting goalkeeper front. And then if you watched Kaylin Sheridan for North Carolina this weekend, she had some really, really good saves.
She's still Kaylin Sheridan.
Yeah.
But all right. San Diego Wave will be back in action. Waving away. And we'll see. Not sure on an arrival time. Did you already drop your fidget? Jeez. For Mercario, or just a timeline. As soon as we get that, we'll let you know. And just kind of keep everybody in the loop. You wrote about Cat Mercario for Offer 11. Abe, that was awesome.
Yeah. I wrote a couple things this weekend. I had something on SanDiego.Futbol about the game, disorganized defense. I was proud of that.
You came after them.
Just the alliteration, because it was just one moment. And I wouldn't have said it if Kennedy Wesley and Jonas Eidevall themselves didn't say it. So you can check out their quotes there if you're curious about that. And in the article, it's just a short little piece about that. And then, I wrote down top 10 moments from the NWSL match day also on All for 11. And then a little thing on the Cat Macario stuff. So they had me working this weekend, but it's been fun. Getting back into soccer is very interesting.
Well, the season's a full of go, and you're working hard for sure. Where's Mia Charles going?
I don't know. There we go. Sorry if that's a boring answer, but
it's all good. Anything else for Wave, guys?
They play their next game this weekend. They go on the road. I believe Wave, SDFC, and the Soccers are all going to be playing at the same time.
Yeah, they are
on Sunday.
That's going to be a soccerific Saturday, for sure.
Equinox. We got to come up with a name for that whenever they all play at the same time.
I'll work on it. I'll workshop it, for sure. All right, so. With that, this concludes San Diego Wave, and hopefully they give me some highlights so I can get rid of this one. All right. So we'll go ahead and transition into our final segment here, which is an interview, a Tony Talk, with Luke Jenkinson, who is the head of human development and performance over at SanDiego.FC. A lot of nitty gritty, nerdy soccer talk. So if you're into that, you're going to fit right in here. So I'll go ahead and check out what these sirens
Real quick. Are we doing goals, gaffes, and greats?
I don't think so.
think we're gonna
I think we're
pickpocket
good.
it for next
Let's
week.
just name them real quick. Goal of the week, Mackenzie Robbie, because she was on San Diego once. I think that's fair.
I give Anders Dreyer the goal. Sorry, I mean the winning goal against Toluca, outside the box shot.
I would have given. I was thinking maybe David. Well, yeah, that could be the goal of the week. That's right. Great of the week, David Vasquez getting the brace in that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half of the week, maybe Manu Dua getting that red card unnecessarily.
I'd give it more to Cisniega on the defense and Sue for giving up that goal in the box. It was disgusting.
That's
I give him more to do us a handball. Like there was no reason. Just let the ball in. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and he's so important to the team. Like taking yourself out of the next CONCACAF game is tough.
And the thing is, it's a direct red card now. So I mean, we probably have to look at the rules. Yeah, it could be more than one. So
yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and toss it to Past Me. Enjoy this little interview. And if you like it, let the club know. If you like these, let them know that you want more of these Tony Talks with it. So with that, we'll go ahead and switch it over. Season's greetings and thank you, Tony, Chiba, and Abe from the past. Well, we have a very special guest that we're going to go ahead and welcome in here. He is the head of human performance at SanDiego.FC. He's been in such clubs internationally as Sheffield United. He's been in Derby. He's been in DC United here in the United States. He's been associated and worked with Wayne Rooney. But now he is here in San Diego working out of the Sharp Healthcare Performance Center in Singing Hills in Siquan Land. We're going to go ahead and welcome the great and powerful Luke Jenkins. How are you?
Good afternoon, Tony. Thank you very much for having me here today. And thank you very much for the introduction. And looking forward to talking about some of the preparations for Toluca on Wednesday night.
I mean, it's going to be exciting. And like I mentioned, a lot of the success that the club sees and, you know, working with a wonderful communications department, people who are behind the cameras, just the club itself, everybody has a part in the success that SanDiego.FC has found. But your success has been, very apparent in terms of what it means on the other side. You get more data, more stuff to play with after a successful year. How has the come up for year two been for you this offseason?
Yeah, of course. This season started with a very short off season, with us going all the way through to early December, and then us having to come back a week earlier than we expected, with the CONCACAF draw and what pot we were in compared to Pumas, for example. So, it was actually December the 12th, my birthday, that we found out that we were ripping everything up and we were changing all the off-season programs. And thankfully, all of the players were ready and prepared to switch and get going a little bit quicker than we expected. And it's such a challenge with balancing that rest and then also being ready to come back for preseason, which of course we had a shortened preseason of 29 days and then we're straight back into that first CONCACAF game. It's been turbulent, and to say that we're already at this point and 6 games in, basically in the second week of March compared to a regular MLS season where we may be 2-3, is been different. And then of course a challenge for the guys that joined us from Europe at the start of the 2025 season that were already 6 months into a season. So some of those players, whether that's Eidevall, whether that's Anders Dreyer, they've been playing as well with international duty for a long period of time. So managing fitness, fatigue, readiness, wellness, where we need to be with these guys for them to go and perform is a critical part of my role and as the leader of the human performance department here.
Absolutely. And I mean, a great job that you have done is being able to load manage and really just look at how much each player can go. I remember the first match of Coachella Valley Invitational where there was practice or training the day before, a couple of days before, just redlining everybody and just making them run. And, you know, I just kind of want to see what the methodology is for that. And I've heard you speak and I heard you say that it has a lot to do with not just running for sake of running, but sometimes it is. And sometimes it's just doing these biometrics and finding the data that way.
Exactly. And I suppose that we have an incredible amount of information on each of the players, whether that is just what they're doing whilst they're up here at the Sharp Health Performance Centre, or whether they're away from the building. We have data about their sleep and their recovery, their wellness. And it's, as you say, a management of that. And we're not just here, gone are the days of just, shall we say in English, beasting people for the sake of it, or just running up the stairs traditionally back in the stadiums in the 80s, for example. Longer ago are those days, but we're here to create and develop our players technically, tactically, psychologically, and physically. And that's ultimately what the department around me are doing day in, day out. Whether you see Yuri, the big the guy from the Netherlands running down the touchline, for example, there's a whole team behind him of performance guys that are sat in the stand looking through data from both the San Diego and our opposition, and monitoring and projecting and predicting what performance looks like in game, but then also collaboration with Mikey and the coaching department for what we see fit and we see optimal to best prepare people to go and set them up for success ultimately. And of course, we've seen that already through Toluca, through to Dallas, and then what we'll see in the coming days as well. So yeah, it's collaboration is key.
100%. And you have the team to do it. One of the biggest teams in terms of performance development and just attention to detail with San Diego FC. Could you touch on a little bit on that? Because this is your team. You built this team, and is now year 2 coming into it. What has that process been, and who are some of the champions that you have working alongside you?
Yeah, so it's a big department here for the US. So when I came to the MLS, when I moved from England to the East Coast with Wayne at DC United and the assistant manager, the MLS mandates 6 full-time performance and medical staff. We're operating on 11 here. I think the way that I've discussed it is that we have a sweet spot, that there's not that many people, that people just get siloed into real small roles, and it's almost part of being like an Amazon warehouse factory that you just do this one job and away you go. But I think that there's lots of clubs, in particularly across the MLS, that are from a human performance department, performance and medical, that are just paddling really hard to keep the ship afloat, and they're unable to actually move that ship forward. So within our department, we have Yuri Pagel, who's the head of physical development, the one that most people see, the guy leading the warm-up. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, like he's pretty difficult to miss. So he oversees a group that has a performance scientist in there, strength and conditioning coach, and a performance and rehab coach. We then have a full-time mental performance coach, so Koto, who you guys won't ever see, but he's in the stands and at training every single day. Costa Rican, previously working in baseball, but he's a soccer guy, of course, being Costa Rican. Full-time nutritionist working with the club. And then on the medical side, we have Ryan Morrison, who's had an extensive history working in soccer here in the US across collegiate and professional in the MLS. And he's supported with 2 athletic trainers, a physical therapist, and then we have a group of interns that work with us from our partnership and collaboration with Point Loma University as well.
No, it's wonderful, and even local representation as well, just really knowing the project. And I think, I mean, usually I have this at the end, but you're living the dream, right? Is this
absolutely? Yeah, I couldn't. People were saying, "Would you go back to England? What's going to happen?" And sorry, but like Liam Rossini is one of my good friends, like at Chelsea. And I'm not saying I had the opportunity to go there, but right now I couldn't work for a better organization. I don't know of a better organization. And as you say, there's people like Paulina Maldonado. She was the head athletic trainer at San Diego Loyal when they were here. Like, it's incredible that she went off to Kansas City Current. It's incredible to bring her back to San Diego. I nicknamed her Reina del Chula Vista, so she's back home now. And yeah, so there's personal connections here, as well as just being people from. Yuri was previously at Ajax. He was head of strength at Ajax, which of course you know is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Maybe not the current Champions League table will show you that, but historically, like, we were able to attract some world-class employees here to come and join me in the human performance department.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as we say here. You know, I know pudding's different on the other side of the pond, but in terms of the team now and what they were able to accomplish, and we can go into what happened last year, but I just want to specifically talk now, moving into this week, right? The team is in Dallas, or was in Dallas. I'm not sure today's Monday exactly where they're at.
Dallas.
They're still in Dallas. Got it.
Yep.
And flying over into Toluca. They've already played a CONCACAF Champions away leg in Mexico City, in that area, in Pumas. What was that challenge like, and how is that different from the challenge presented now with Toluca, which is a little bit higher elevation? Because I've also heard you say that, elevation and that factor is, and the travel is a little bit, para ponerle crema a su tacos, a little bit exaggerated.
Yes. Exactly. Of course, what we have here in the MLS is we have Salt Lake at 1,200 meters and we have Colorado at 1,600 meters. And I know in our previous conversations, I've questioned whether Salt Lake is actually of an impact. Colorado starts to get there. Of course, you go to Pumas at 2,200 meters and you are going to start to notice very much so. And then, of course, going to Toluca, we're going another 400 meters to 2,600 meters. So there is definitely a physiological challenge. All of the players are aware of it. Of course, now they have an expectation of what that feels like. Having been to Pumas, I think it was really clear that we did some good work with the coaching team and with the players about these are things that we can't control, but these are the things that we can control that can help and set us up for success when we go to that environment. I think it's been really useful that this is only our second season. We have been through so many firsts together, whether that was our first away game, whether that was our first loss, whether that was our first air travel, for example. We've been through so many of these, and this was just the first time that we had competed at altitude or at elevation, should I say. And we have a long list of controllables for how we can set ourselves up for success once we go to elevation. So the players were very clear of that. They were made very clear pre-Pumas a few days before, but there was stuff that was already happening in their programming, within what they were eating every single day, within their blood testing and with their supplementation, that they didn't even really overtly aware that we were managing to set them up for success once we went there, or to put them in the best situation to go and do what they need to do.
And the players, responded. They got the result that they needed. Not winning the actual match, but eventually moving forward into now a position where they're with Toluca. And what are some of the things that have been contributing to the success in terms of the youth aspect? Because not just having players who are experienced, who are going to answer the call to be a holistic fit with the team, but you have some very young players. I'm looking at like Luca Bombino, right? Like sometimes it seems like he's just never off the pitch and he's just going. How does one manage each individual level fitness in that and making sure you're making the correct call within margins?
Yeah, there's an art to it. There's definitely a science. There is the data that we will use to help inform. But I think what's really important to recognize is from our department is we have a real strong magnifying glass over one corner of a broader performance spectrum. So understanding what those other elements are, again, just to use these four big phrases that are often thrown out there, physical, mental, technical, and tactical, is that we then need to make decisions about out of those four, or out of the lens that I am coming at this situation from, which is the most confounding, or which will have the biggest impact once we go to ultimately cross that white line at 7:39 or 7:40 p.m. to go and perform a regular Saturday evening, for example.
And like I said, like these teams, this team just doesn't seem to kind of follow anything that is on the book per se, but it seems like everything is almost planned, almost predetermined in a certain way with the conditioning that you have. And what are the factors that are kind of coming in as you go with this still being year two, yet in a lot of ways it's still year one now, involved in a third tournament, new players coming in? What are those intangibles that are kind of coming into and mucking the data perhaps?
Yeah, I think that ultimately, again, it's important to recognize that we're a right to dream organization, and you talk about Bombino, we're all on a development pathway. We all can get better. That is instilled within the environment every single day. Like you've heard Mikey talk about, we're winning and losing games when we don't even realize, every single day. And having this growth mindset, being prepared to be embraced, to embrace challenge, and to accept that, and we're all here to get better, and we're all here to try and enhance the process that each of these individuals are going through. Now, in terms of like some of these intangibles, these are the things around environment. These are things around culture. These are things around how we greet each other every single day, and having deep and meaningful connections, and being positive leaders that we're here to enhance one another's journey, that we're here to break down barriers, and that whether you are first on that roster list in terms of pay scale, whether you are bottom, you have and you contribute to this environment just as much as everyone else. And you'll see, again, recently with the fixture congestion, typically your first 18 weeks of an MLS season are 1 game weeks. If we include the 5-6 weeks of preseason, you have 1 game weeks all the way. It's nice and easy to build into. Like, we've had to make this squad as big as possible to give Mikey and the team as many options as possible. So seeing players running after game, where the players have been playing games behind closed doors that some fans don't know about, that's happened up here at Singing Hills. Like, these are all things because we need to get these players ready, because ultimately, whether it's through either good performance, someone else's bad performance, whether it's through injury, at some point you will get called upon, and we need to set you up for success to go and perform and do what you need to do when you get the opportunity to do. And that's ultimately the sales pitch that we have to the players when things are really hard, when you're tired. We know, and we're here, we're just trying to help you. This isn't us doing it because this is what we enjoy. We're here to support, we're support staff. We're here to support you. We're here to support Mikey and Tyler, and we're here to support the organization.
I mean, that also almost seems antithetical to the way that everybody grew into soccer, right? You have the uncle old in a tracksuit smoking the cigarette saying, all right, take 20 laps, go. Yep. Half of the team is also getting their pack of cigarette in, and we've moved past that. And is there any kind of thing where right now in modern football with this new data-driven approach that are still sort of, old school in the way that, it needs to move forward and out of in certain patterns? Is there anything right now that needs to almost be, abandoned?
Yeah, I think that maybe not. I think it very much varies from person to person and the extent of that. And thankfully, the recruitment process here is that there's not many, if any, of those that are here, so which has been nice to work with. I think you're completely right. I started my career 2009. I walked into a gym in my first day, and a pro player played for England. It was like, why the F do I want to listen to you? I don't want to look like you. Who are you? And I think that now we're seeing a point, like my first full-time day was Harry Maguire's first full-time day in his scholarship program at Sheffield United. And now we're seeing in the media, we're talking about Harry's final move, like before he retires. And a lot of these players now, through academy systems, very much in Europe, and then through the soccer world developing here in the US, like, people now only know this. You have to be elite. You can't leave any stone unturned, and you need to optimize your life, because ultimately we train from anywhere from 60 to 100 minutes a day. Like, you've got another 22 and a half hours a day to go and optimize what you do to put yourself in the best condition, both physically, mentally, technically, tactically. And that's all that we go back to. And the part of that is being able to switch off. Part of that is to be able to go and relax. Part of that is going out for dinner with your wife or your family, or going and playing golf with your friends. Like, whatever that is all part of that wellness, health, and recovery process, which we're ultimately looks very different from individual to individual.
And as you're compiling all this data, I mean, is there such thing as too much data, too many things, too many Excel spreadsheets at this point, and not enough time to look at it? Like, I can't imagine, I can't fathom now in 2026, right? We go from, again, like, why should I do this, to like the players that are coming, like, no, I need to know everything about everything. Like, what's that balance like?
I think you can only manage what you measure to start off with. But even if you measure everything and you have control of everything, if me and you, Tony, were having a game of chess, I can see every piece on that chessboard. I can have control over every piece that I have on my side of the board. I can still lose. Now, as you say, when I started my career 15, 16 years ago, I had some incredible Excel spreadsheets that did all sorts for me. At the end of the season, they were so slow to update. There was that much information in there. But long are those days now, and we have people like Carson O'Coin, our performance scientist, that has such levels of coding, whether that's R, Python, DAX, whatever that is, that we shouldn't be taking any information if it's not actionable and it's otherwise we're wasting everyone's time. So the level of automation and the communication streams for how we action those processes is extremely streamlined. But again, it's simple things like Anders put his wellness score last week was the flip. He did it the wrong way around. But it was so important. We knew he'd flipped it, but it was so important that we went and addressed that with him because we're a human industry, just to go and make sure. Because if he's done that on purpose, he's not that guy. He wouldn't do it on purpose. But if there is something that should have been a flag and we've not addressed it, then you've jeopardized your whole data process, right from just a simple process when the players wake up in the morning and they fill out a survey that comes to us that's automated, that if there's anything that's outside of their norm, I'm emailed straight away and fully aware of it. But that doesn't take away from my staff and the coaches being around the players, being around the environment and having those human interactions because, again, we're a human first industry.
Yeah, it's about being people at the end of the day. And with all this data and all these numbers, is there a piece of data that's coming out potentially that can be new or it's being developed? I can liken it to baseball where that with the game WAR, wins above replacement, and just some of the data that each individual player contributed to this amount of wins per match. Obviously, football being very different, but is there a piece of data that is coming in that it has an anomaly or just kind of needs to be studied a little bit more?
Yeah, I think that there's two elements that I go to. This has become a little bit more common over recent years and very much is a league-wide deal in the MLS. We have data of the opposition. So I'm tracking both San Diego physical data in-game as well as the opposition data. And that can give us some important insights into what that looks like compared to normal. What happens if X fullback is on one side compared to the other, for example? What does a physical matchup look like from that perspective? What are we expecting from the opposition, not just technically, but also physically? So we have full transparency over that side of things. And then also just the, shall I say, physiological monitoring. I think that, as I say, it's becoming far more readily available. Players are becoming more and more interested in sleep health, recovery markers. So we don't do blood work here. Some clubs do use blood work as a marker. But again, I think that opposed to just opinions, we have some pretty hard physical markers that show us about the fitness fatigue state and response to the physical loading, which has become, I wouldn't say it's necessarily new, but it's definitely more widely available and easier to ingest and then process.
I mean, that's incredible that, the chess match begins hours, days, weeks ahead of the actual match. And that this is the level of intention that it takes to be elite, as you said, and be at the top of not just North America, but what's happening across the world, right? The Dream obviously being named one of the best academies, if not the best academy in the world currently. But I mean, a personal question for you, man, like, how do you stay romantic about the game? Like, it's like you have all these numbers, you have the data, you have everything almost to a T, literally to a science, but like, how does one still remain romantic about, again, those intangibles? Just like, how?
So I'll go two things, and I'm a bit embarrassed to admit this, but everyone here knows me for this. I love the championship. For me, the championship is the best league in the world. And even though I'm away, I still have a lot of colleagues, I have a lot of friends. I still listen to a lot of podcasts about the championship. Like, that's almost my escape now. Like, I've worked in that league and it's very different once you're in that league. So that romantic side has been very much that side. My wife works for CBS Sports and she is one of the most passionate American soccer fans that I have come across, and very passionate Latina. And I watch CBS Golazo show every single morning because she's on it. But that's keep me up to date with world soccer. Like, us Brits, and I'm sorry to say this, are pretty arrogant, and we're just bothered about the Premier League, the Championship, and our soccer. And the rest of the world, we might look at the Champions League if an English team's playing. But again, for me now to have the knowledge around and to go to Cholos games and to go and see and to go and watch. Yesterday I watched Vancouver, Minnesota. Like, I love football and the nuances of the game. So yeah, for me, they're the big two.
And somebody who balances very well is Mikey Varas. How is it like
Exactly
with him? And I mean, he came from the U.S. Managerial Academy, and they're more open to this data-driven approach for football now. This Total Football 2.0, along with Tyler Heaps. What's it been like working with those two dynamos?
Yeah, incredible. I love working for both of them and supporting them. It's I couldn't ask for a better pairing to work with, and that's really easy to say and sit in an interview. But I genuinely mean that and couldn't actually reiterate that enough. And I think right from the start when me and Mikey, so I was in San Diego when Mikey was announced, I think the 14th of September 2024, we soon learned that we both have strong loves for soccer periodization and how we train, and that was part of his previous role, and we really bonded and connected over that side of the footballing world from day one. And of course, Tyler, his analytics background is superb and a great leader, and they facilitate us to go and be successful in our roles and empower us as specialists to look at situations with our own lens, and we have a voice at the table. And whether that we make a group decision through the leadership group to go down that avenue or not, then that's a group decision, and we're just here to support and ultimately bring success again when we cross the white line.
Are you still as involved with the academy and the pedagogical approach and building of that as it comes together? And how similar is that to what, say, Honors Dreyer is doing in his development as a human being?
Yeah, absolutely. I was around the gym session with the academy this morning. So again, like I touched upon, the team stayed in Dallas. They will actually travel to Toluca on Tuesday. We will spend as little time as possible in Mexico City, just because of the fatiguing effects or the systemic stress that the players will undergo by being at that elevation. So yeah, I'm here and I've been supporting the players that have been left behind, and then also around the academy in terms of how similar is the program? Like, the guys are in the same gym, they share the same environment. I wouldn't say it's exactly the same, but it's to get them to the same point. Of course, it has to be maturation specific. It has to be, we don't train them like mini pros, like they are different athletes. They are different beings, and we treat them that way. But ultimately, they're on a journey to get to that point. And some stuff would be similar. How they go about doing it is maybe more play-like. It's more through movement challenges and tasks rather than, shall we say, formal strength work that they were going through this morning.
I mean, not treating them like little professionals. Jean Piaget is smiling somewhere for that 100%. A couple of questions here to round us all up. But what is your favorite room or space in that just soccer heaven that's out there in El Cajon at Singing Hills, the Sharp Healthcare Performance Center?
I'm going to do this and it might not work. The balcony outside of my office window. Between that and the gym's the phenomenal place. Like, as I say, Yuri joined us from Ajax and he was back home in Amsterdam over the off season, and they've just opened a new performance center. We had an old colleague of mine that was with Man City over here a couple of weeks ago doing some education with the team, and both of them just like Ajax's new facility, the gym isn't as good. Man City have just had a new gym, and like Matt was here and he was like, this is a phenomenal place. So for us, very much that. But again, being here in this tribal land from Sycuan is a special place. Like, east is directly this way. We drive into sunrise, we drive home to sunset, and there's a special feeling being in this valley here. It's a beautiful place.
That's wonderful to hear, and it's being taken advantage of. Like, it's incredible what happens out there. Just walking by, it's just, you smell the football happening. And Luke, again, thank you for your time and everything that I'd love to kind of connect and keep going as this develops, because this is an important piece of the football that is happening, the success. Yeah, the glitz, the glam, the walk-ins, the outfits, the uniforms, the kits, the market. But at the end of the day, it's the development of the human beings. And Luke, you're doing a fantastic job. Before I let you go, you still lace them up? And if you do, what are your favorite pair of boots? If not now, ever?
Yeah, I say now. I'm getting a little bit older, so everything I do, I run in a straight line, I cycle in a straight line, I bench press in a straight line, and I do pull-ups in a straight line. I'm one of the few staff that doesn't join staff soccer here on a match day -2. I enjoy watching and mocking people in a good way a little bit more. But it would absolutely be the Predator Accelerator. They're my number one boost. Them and the Manias. Like, it has to be a Predator. I was born in '87, so the Predator was the only boot. Maybe the original. The T90s I also really like. The Wayne Rooney T90s with the rubber down the front were also
the yellow ones.
Yeah, and the white and black ones I really liked. But I would have to say the Adidas boots or Adidas.
100%. Well, that's part of the history and what makes you out there. And I really appreciate your time, Luke. We'll get you out of here if you want to hang around real quick, and then we'll wrap it up, and then we'll close it real quick. But thank you for your time. And again, I don't know how to. Do you have anything to promote? I know you had a paper and something that you were working on, and I'm doing some research on what you've been doing. Is that on its way?
Yeah, so my first piece of research from my PhD was literally published live this morning. It's been in the process for a while, and we're just wrapping up our second paper as we speak. But it's called Crossing Time Zones and Touchlines. So it's about the nuances or the challenges of travel here in North American soccer. And as I say, that's what my PhD research is about. So dealing with things such as elevation, time zones, heat. And I'm currently advising a few national teams ready for their trip to the World Cup currently. So one of those, thankfully, being England, so I can support my home nation. But yeah, there's two other federations that I'm also helping at the moment in their preparation for coming here to North America.
I love that. That's if ever a copy lands anywhere, I'd love to get an eyes on an abstract. That'd be fantastic. But Luke, thank you for your time, and we'll wrap it up here. Stick around real quick. All right, and we're here live now. Chiva has departed.
That was a great interview. That's fun to hear about. I want to know more about staff soccer on Match Day -2.
Honestly, yeah, that's something that piqued my interest. But one last plug here. Luke did actually drop this piece that he's working on, Crossing Time Zone and Touchline, an observational survey of practitioners' perceptions on travel in elite North American soccer. There's a link. Follow him, Luke Jenkinson. Great stuff. For you, Chief, Abe, I put it in the private chat if it fancies your
I love a good academic paper.
I was really excited for it. Like I nerded out for a bit.
Academic papers are interesting sometimes, but I became a journalist because I think sometimes you need to be a bit more brief in our writings, in our
than
meetings.
Academic papers.
I'm just lazy, honestly. Academic papers are beautiful and well researched and thoughtful and strong, and a lot of real mind work going into it, and journalism's kind of the stuff I like to do is a lot shorter than that.
Well, if you like what you heard from Luke,
I'll read this stuff.
No, it's some really cool stuff, and again, some good insight too. If you're paying attention at this point, some good insight on how SanDiego FC is actually working live right now, and what it takes to be at that elite level. So great stuff. And if you want to see more of these style interviews, get Mikey Vadas on here, get some of the players on here. I would love for that. To track Chivas data for Snapdragon. That'd be funny. But yeah, I think it's a good place to end. It's one of our longest episodes ever, but it was jam-packed with some really, really great stuff. Abe, you're killing it with your writing. Thank you, everybody who's joined, everybody who's stuck around at this time. Shout out. Thank you once again, SanDiego FC, Luke Jenkinson, the Chromaniacs, Chiva, or everybody here at SanDiego.Futbol. We'll be back with all your coverage for all things soccer in San Diego. A couple matches for the Olympics were announced. San Diego is the hub for soccer in the Olympics, stadium with the most matches. 11 matches, including a bronze medal and a semifinal. Here, it's going to be fantastic. Thank you once again for everybody sticking around. Good stuff. Again, be a friend, tell a friend. If you like more of that content, more directly with the players and the staff and whoever's making it happen, let everybody know that you enjoyed it. But until then, see you guys later.